Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Uncut, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Wayne Foster, David Robertson, Edwin Johnson, Owen Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik 86, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Missouri Bear, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Qatar Craig, Renee, Rob H, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Tom Hurkins, Unbelievable Productions, and Windrider. So a massive thanks to all of you who do support me on Patreon. We've also had a few new channel members on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel. We do have a link below each of these premiering streams on the Nathan Oakley channel. But if you did want to become a member, there is a link to the Nathan Oakley memberships if you just want to acquire that from the link below this video. But I will give these guys a proper shout out on the live show. But Eric let's try that again. Eric McNearney, I think that's correct. Thank you very much for joining as a hyena. Also, DJ Neo Shaman, who joined as a penguin, and then DJ Neo Shaman, who started again as a lion. So thank you very much twice over to DJ Neo Shaman. Double shout outs for you, my friend. And last but by no means least, Truth in Your Face. Thank you very much for joining as a hyena. And he's also a panel member every now and again. So big shout out to you, Roscoe. Thank you for joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Now, we do have a panel. I think we've got a few people in Discord as well. Let's have a little look. Anybody that needs unmuting, I'll sort that out while I'm introducing the other panel members. As I say, I'll open the mics on them and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for the first live show.
Alrighty then. We covered a lot of wrenches.
Yeah, and you kind of lost me a little bit on the politics.
Well, I shouldn't, because like you said, they lie on every level. So now they're trying to say that, Bernie Sanders here wants to give everything out for free and forgive all the college debts and medical for everybody, including people who violate our immigration laws. $60 trillion plus dollars. Who's going to pay for this? And where's the money coming from? Oops. Bankrupt this country. It doesn't make any sense. And yet people flock to it because free. It's hard to beat free. But then when you've had all these years of anti-American teachers in the school system telling you how bad America is and how bad capitalism is, it's easy to see why half the country is kind of wobbling on this. They're stupid. They're not thinking.
Good morning.
Hey, Paul.
Morning, Paul.
Good morning. Did you get my?
Yeah, I did. I'm glad you sent that one, but I was thinking of the one that I think is on Metabunk that Nathan said. The one that the guy at the top of the globe was going up and down and the horizon changed as he went lower.
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah, that was somebody else. I think that was Metabunk. That's what Nathan said earlier. I'll have to go there and find it.
Yeah, I've been still been playing with it. I was playing with it just now, and you have to do a lot of things to get that light ray to curve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to actually curve. It always wants to go straight, even through the different mediums. So I still can't figure out how they make it work.
Just needs another slider labeled. Yeah, it just needs another slider labeled bullshit. Yeah,
That's
increase
right.
the bullshit, and it makes the light bend, like in a curve.
That's right.
this is about the closest I've been able to get to what they talk about. But I don't know if you see. You don't have to share this. This is something that's still on the. Unless you want to share this, doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
look at what I had to do to get it to curve, having different mediums, and the mediums are actually themselves kind of curved, and I did get it to kind of look like a curve. But you see what I had to do to get it to do that?
Yeah.
So pretty funny, pretty sad.
But just
if I
tell
did
us
it,
anyway. Verbalize it anyway.
Do what now? I'm sorry.
It's reasonably visually obvious, but it's very dark, right? So if you can just, with your mouse, go through the different transitions and just explain what you're actually having to do to achieve what you're achieving in this simulation.
Okay, I got you. So, like, if you see these dots up here, see my mouse? There's dots all the way around. So I created a medium. So it's like I think it's like one index, and then each one of these different circles is a different medium. And it's a circle instead of obviously a square or anything like that, which is not necessarily representative of reality. It's just me trying to make it work. But so in each one of these is different. I actually set the index, if you see it right here, the refractive index pretty low, because obviously the atmosphere is not the same as a glass lens or a saline solution or a salt sugar solution. So I try to keep the refractive index very low. And the only way I could do it is by trying to play with the circles to get it in each stage to try to see if I can get it to bend. But even if you look real close, the light still wants to travel straight. Like even in this first segment, if it hits it, and there is a slight, you can't hardly see it, but there's a slight bend here, and then it hits this next transition, and there's another slight bend, and there's another slight bend. So each time it has to, like, once it hits the medium, it slightly bends down. Go ahead, Tim. Is that you? Am I saying something? Okay. Anyway, but again, it's just me trying. I've tried it doing, like, because you could do a free form or freestyle or free shape, so I can make my own lens like this. And you could set the refractive index, so I took it down. Let's see when you do this. So let's say if I create another ray, whoops, where's it not going? Come on, there we go. Let's see if we would do another ray. If it's hit it, the angle's pretty much straight. Look, even though it's going through a different medium, it's still virtually a straight line. So I could get a different angle. Let's see if I can do it here. Well, even at the very slow, low refractive, it still looks like a more straight line. I guess you guys get the point of what I'm trying to illustrate. It's just the more I play with it, I just go like, how do they? It's just them playing with the numbers to make it work. You have to go through hoops to make it work. I guess that's ultimately my conclusion.
That's not the route they've taken. So the route they actually take, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a deception. The route they actually take is to educate themselves well on effects of actual atmospheric conditions, how they work, what they do, and at some point in the conversation, they insert, that's all they ever did. So when you look at Andrew Thomas Young's website, 10th Man pointed out when he went through the site, explaining that everything that they're describing is done in relation to a plane surface. And at the end, he just says, but we're going to assume we're going to assume terrestrial refraction, we're going to assume light bending around a curved surface at the rate of the curved surface we assume in the first instance. So from there on in, all the trick has ever been, here, in debate, is to talk in an educated way about an observation that has actual terrestrial refraction, according to them. So how do you get from actual to terrestrial? Well, speaking educatedly about actual, and then inserting terrestrial. That's all they ever did. So they don't actually attempt to bend the light unless they're doing ray tracing when they're bending it around a sphere in the first instance. So because the model's sphere-shaped, obviously they're begging the question of a sphere. Their model's sphere-shaped, and they're just working to back-engineer light bending around a presupposed sphere in the model. But it doesn't actually work when they're talking about the actual effects we observe and how they quantify them in reality. They'll be done in the same way Andrew Young or anybody else does it, which is reference a plane surface. How does the light deviate from straight?
Well, look at this. Do you see what I just did? I put a plane surface, the blocker, created a blocker here, and obviously when the thing I noticed is they never talk about like a black swan. It's actually, I mean, maybe the oil rigs or you're a foot off the ground. I mean, I put this light ray, very close to the blocker, and if you put any refractive surface, um, it you can see it bend straight down and hit when it passes through the medium. It hit the ground not too far away. I mean, literally, what they'd have to say is, the ray basically goes up and then travels back down. But even this, you notice what I did? It didn't do that. It doesn't even come back down far enough. I mean, it always wants to bend down towards the ground. And if I add another one, let's see what happened. It goes even further down. Here, I'll drop. Wrong one. If I drop the refractive index, it still doesn't even make it. You know what I mean? It bends straight down and hits the ground.
Right.
You understand what I'm driving at here?
Absolutely. So it's far easier to just say, it does bend around. Here's the rate it bends. 7/6R. Standard, aka terrestrial refraction. So don't actually try and make it work in any reasonable or meaningful way. As I say, their tactic is just to understand how real refraction effects work, and then at some point swindle 7/6R in place of actual atmospheric conditions. That's all they do. Just say it absolutely bends around in a circle. That's absolutely what would happen.
See this little blue dot? This is like it says seen by the observer. If I'm over here, you don't see it. Only time you could start seeing it. Well, it's not doing it. Hang on, it's not doing what I thought it'd do. The beam. It'll do it. So that's where you would see it. That's it would look like it's up. Whoops, darn it! That's not what I wanted to do. Things kind of hard to play with. But if you're way over here, you would never see the light. You have to be at a certain point to even begin to see it. I don't know if I guess that makes any sense. And the intensity of that image would be less and less the further you get away from it. Anyway, I've been playing with this for a while. My conclusion is that they do have to bend it, and it isn't just a numbers game, pretty much in their mind.
Yeah, 7/6 of a presupposed radius, or any value they choose to insert whilst begging the question of an R value.
I'm done.
Thanks, Paul.
Just playing.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very difficult to get something that wants to go in a straight line not to.
Yeah, that was good, Paul. Righteous, can you put up that slide?
Yeah. All right.
All right, you got that, Nathan?
Yes, on screen.
All right. So, I love Chocolate's summary on it's just a Jedi mind trick. And the Black Swan and the Motors Tollens, brilliantly constructed by QE and understood on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel through the last, month now, is it? Or so? Plus?
Oh, easily.
Yeah, easily. And the lack of answers from the other side. So here's the Jedi mind trick. The sphere model requires a geometric horizon. As we can see here in the Muppet vision, the G is the X. That's where the geometric physical horizon must be. And the H is another marker. So if we just read that little sentence up there, we'll go with the second one. The important thing to note here is that these coordinates are defined with respect to the geometric horizon, which is the horizon an observer would see if he were standing at sea level on a perfectly plain Earth with no atmospheric effects. In reality, however, the horizon an observer actually sees is called the apparent horizon. This takes into account the fact that the Earth is round. Notice the begging the question right there. And that the light from the horizon is refracted through the atmosphere. In fact, I found this brilliant image that shows the effect the atmosphere has on our perception of what the horizon is. This causes the horizon we see to actually be a negative altitude to the geometric horizon. So, if you look at the pictures of BLMSB 69, platform C is 6.8 miles out. Platform habitat is 10.10 miles out. He's standing 8 feet above sea level. So the globe Earth horizon should be less than 3.5 miles. That would be the G, the geometric horizon. As seen here, the actual horizon that's viewed by any set of eyeballs is well beyond the second platform, which puts it past 10.10 miles. So here's the Jedi mind trick. Let me just go through it, and then we can revisit. They're just bullet points I wrote down. Sphere model requires a geometric horizon. Sphere model has an X to mark the spot in Muppet vision. In this case, it's the G. There can only be seen without an atmosphere is the Jedi mind trick. This can never happen. They know it. That's why they put it in there. You can never have no atmosphere on this Earth because no one would be able to see anything. So this can never happen. So they stick it in there, saying the only way you could see the geometric horizon is if you have no atmosphere. They know this and hijack perspective. Reminds me of your beautiful rendition, Proof of Nothing, Perspective Hijacking Curve Calculator. So, leaving only one horizon to be seen ever due to atmosphere existing and perspective, how the real world works. So my conclusion is that there is no geometric horizon. There never was one. We don't live on a sphere. Welcome to Flat Earth. It's all a lie. They don't even believe in a geometric horizon. And the Jedi mind trick is to stick in atmosphere or the lack thereof.
0.02.
Who's saying 0.02?
Can you pop yourself on mute, Buster?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So, if the Earth's radius is 3,959 mile radius, and the observer height, that's a mathematical construct, and we're going to be able to see a geometric horizon based on their radius because Earth is physical. Must be. They've got coordinates as to it. They apply a special condition. You would be able to see it if there was no atmosphere. That's the Jedi mind trick. Because you could never, ever do that test.
No, their model, as depicted, has two horizons. They're trying to swindle you and say that you've got a situation where you can have two horizons. If they're going to draw a tangent line to point G, they need to have point G. If they don't have point G, they can't draw a straight tangent line. So herein lies the inherent problem. In order to utilise atmospheric conditions to account for the better optics in zoom cameras, they've bent their tangent line and broken their model. You can't have bent tangent lines in a geometric model. And if you look at their, what I've been calling a donkey dick for a tangent line between, is it point C and point H? What's at the top? Is it an O or a C?
C is the center of the Earth.
No, at the top then, is it an O?
Oh, yeah. O is the
It's very small on my screen. So between point O and point H, that's bent. Well, if they're saying that you don't see point G, how are you drawing any geometry out of this bent line? You can't. So they can't utilise geometry if you can't draw a straight line. If they're claiming all of these lights, rays, non-existent conceptual entity that is, are being bent towards us, then you can't draw any tangent lines anymore, then you can't perform any geometry. Your calculator's useless then, because that dotted line is an absolute necessity. The dotted line between O and G. Now the fact that they've got a point G and a point H in this side elevation, it's quite useful for me to do in this particular instance because they're both on screen. A horizon in an image, in this instance, sometimes it might not, but runs the full length from right to left or left to right. That's a horizon. In their geometric model, it should be, with a single straight line, a one-time single point. It makes no sense because a horizon isn't a single point seen side on to a curve. That might make sense geometrically speaking, but this bent line says they're not doing geometry anymore. So what's this dotted line? Well, it's an assumed physical geometric horizon according to them that we never see. But if it's physical and geometric, then we must see it. It provides the physical limitation geometry would offer if we were standing on a sphere Earth. So them saying we never see a geometric horizon, well then we're never going to be doing geometry ever again. We only have one horizon. You telling us that we are going to be basing our assumptions on a geometric horizon we never see is merely a fundamentalist religious assertion that we're going to presuppose we're on a sphere. But in order to do geometric calculations, the lines must be straight. And if they're not straight, we won't be doing sphere geometry. It's another checkmate. Slightly more convoluted checkmate, but checkmate nonetheless. In order to do geometry, you need to draw a straight line. If you're saying we never ever have a circumstance where we have a straight line to draw geometry from, then you can't do geometry. There is no geometry to be done. Better start dealing with optics and perspective. If that's what we're encountering, and clearly we are, we don't see a single point at point G at all, according to them, and the single point that we see at point H is in no way representative of a line drawn across the entirety of these images. That's a single point. Meaningless. A single point necessitated by a geometric model side on. But they're not doing geometry anymore, they've got a curved line. So if they're saying we don't have straight lines, well then we're not going to be doing geometry anymore. You're certainly not going to be asserting that this physical sphere edge is blocking something that was formerly at H, or raising it into view, when you take consideration of a straight line that you don't have. There'll be no more geometry being done anymore. It's another checkmate, end of the globe situation. If you haven't got straight lines, how are you going to do geometry? You won't be. So you're not going to be starting with the premise that you've got it, if you can't do it. Ever. Shout out to Flatsoid. He's been barking up this tree since the start. How are you going to do your geometry then? What's a tangent line? Straight, you say? According to Rumpus, that's only in special circumstances where we've got a special straight line. Alright. Well, you're claiming all the lines are bent, aren't you now? So we never have the special circumstances where we can apply your reification of a geometric model with straight lines being drawn. Because we never have them. Well, we're never going to be doing that again then, are we? Why would we do geometry? We can't. We're not. We're dealing with optics, like we've been saying for 4 years.
Well, they're saying that now too.
Well, their model doesn't cope with that. You can't draw a tangent line, it's bent, and it's not dealing in apparent sizes. It's dealing in actual sizes that don't change with distance. So if you're going to start telling us about how everything's apparent, better start taking into account the fact that your geometric calculator is just that. Not dealing in apparent anything, dealing in geometric everything, while you simultaneously relinquish the very physicality you're claiming the model offers. What, so we never see the physicality of a sphere Earth? Well, you would if you were on a ball. If it was a sphere, it would mandate how things were being obscured, and that's what you used to fight for, just how much the geometry obscured stuff. Now we never see a geometric sphere edge. Yeah, we don't. You're right. Welcome to Flat Earth. We never see a geometric sphere edge. We would if we were on a ball, though. It would be mandated by the fact we were on a ball. Inviolable, never to be altered. If we were on a ball, it would be physically, geometrically dictated by that model. It isn't. We never see it, you say? Only in special circumstances? No, we never see it. We don't have a geometric horizon. We don't have a sphere edge for a horizon. It never was physical, never will be geometrically capable of measurement. And you're all telling us exactly how true that is. Checkmate, fundies. Your globe model is useless.
You know, I just realized something else.
What?
I might be derailing. Are you guys done?
I'm done.
What about the rest of the panel? I gotta stop interrupting like that because I have like my own thought, and what I was gonna say, I guess I'll screen share again quickly. Share screen.
Well, while you're doing that, I've already got my screen shared. Just to kind of reiterate what Atha was saying, if it's a straight line, if I'm at the point of the middle of the protractor, and I'm measuring an angle here to try to figure out where the light source is, it would be like up here somewhere. If you can see, well, you can't see my cursor, but it would be at the 80-degree mark, but way up here. But if I moved outside the medium, then try to measure where the light would be, the angle's completely different. So just to kind of reiterate what Nathan is saying, you can't use, if you use straight lines and it's refracted, you are done. That's it.
Yeah, the geometry becomes useless. You're no longer dealing in geometry, and your model's geometric. The fundamental premise is that we do deal in geometry if we're on a sphere, according to you, and your geometric model, you're telling us, doesn't have the geometric attributes it requires. So by telling us that we don't ever see a geometric horizon is just simply an admission we don't have the geometric attributes a sphere would offer.
How do ballers account for like the horizon being at eye level and not being at eye level? Like if you see the screen that I'm sharing, if the geometric horizon is supposed to be like right around here somewhere, let's just say, before the platforms, it would like never be close to eye level then. Like the drop on the horizon should be like...
There it is. The drop. Exactly. So they reify it into a physical location and do claim that it drops. And what's dropping? Well, the physical sphere edge they've reified into existence, the geometric horizon, and its physicality is, according to them, as you go up in altitude, dropping. They tell you to take theodolites onto planes and measure just how much that physical, geometric, horizon they reified has dropped. Correct? It is correct. I'm telling you, I've been here a long time. Right, but it requires you reify the damn thing into physicality, right? And make it a geometric sphere edge again. The very thing they're currently denying.
Even at altitude, if every horizon is refracted, so no matter what altitude you are, the horizon is refracted, so it would not be in its true position.
Yeah, it's bye-bye geometry. We've said this from the start. And as they're kissing goodbye to their own geometry and working away from the geometry, but telling us we've got to base it on the geometry they don't have, they don't realise how screwed they are. I've just read out Anthony's comment underneath that post that you've just read out on the show 10th, and he's like, oh my god! Exclamation mark, few laughing emojis on it. It's like, yeah, they're digging their hole deeper and deeper by the day.
Yeah.
Give it another week, they'll be screaming at us. We don't have a geometric horizon! They'll be screaming it at us.
That's what we've been telling them.
Yeah. Welcome to Flat Earth Fundies. Keep telling us. Keep telling us. Rub out the line. Yeah? Get rid of the line that has a straight tangent. You know? They don't even make it dotted anymore. Just draw a curved line and no other line. You know, try and forget all about the fact that you had physical geometry that you were asserting in the maths. Yeah? And just go into fantasy world with a curved line. A complete nonsense bastardization of your original geometry so we can all laugh at it. I love those. I absolutely love that new model. It's great. You're like, is this a joke? This isn't geometry anymore, fundies. You used to assert the physicality of the sphere. Now you're telling us about how non-physical it is with the bastardization of the original geometry. A dotted line to the horizon that they claimed was in front of us and physical. Oh no, not anymore. Can't ever see it. Only under circumstances you can't achieve. Wonderful. You can't achieve seeing the sphere anymore, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's the state of affairs now. You can't see it. You never have, you never will. Too special for you. What do you expect? You expect these people who reify a model to suck the atmosphere out? For you to see the physicality of a sphere you're supposed to be standing on, it should be obvious. Nah, it should be obvious, right?
Well, you framed it perfectly at the beginning when you said to Paul, as he was doing his presentation, that they've studied the effects of perspective and how our eyes work. And they've hijacked that and come up with all this nonsense. And this is why I said their Jedi mind trick is to have the rumpuses of the world believe that the only reason we don't see the geometric horizon is because of atmosphere. But if we didn't have atmosphere, it'd be right there, exactly what the geometry says. That is the lie. That is the mind trick. They put that there on purpose because they know it could never, ever be demonstrated.
Well, what they're saying would happen is if you had the atmosphere removed, you'd see the horizon as a single point inside elevation with your own head in view. Because their geometric calculation is a side elevation with the horizon as a single point. With you on the left, the horizon on the right with a dot representing it, or a letter, or an X, a single point. And a horizon doesn't look like that. We've got one on screen now. That's not what a horizon is. So, what, if you remove the atmosphere, it'll suddenly look like a single point and I'll see the side of my own head, will I? No, of course not. It's never going to be representative of their geometric model. The only reason it's inside profile is to remove aspects of perspective that are the actual effects they're calling Earth curve. Now they're denying them by removing the geometric necessity the model would need if you're going to call it geometric. You can't have a bent line in something that's claiming to be geometry. Hey Adam, we're just talking about how they've now bastardized their model and removed the actual geometric aspect of it. Rubbed out half the line. Say again?
Is that where we're at? Is it? They're taking their own model apart now. Reminds me of Google Earth.
Well, they're saying that we never see a geometric horizon. We would agree. But if we've got physical geometry, you would see a geometric horizon. It would necessitate everything about our waking life. It would be the nature of reality. Not, oh, you can't see it. What do you expect? And then when they say what the geometric horizon is, it's a side profile view with it marked as a single point with an X and a letter next to it. Like you'll never get to see it like that. That's a bastardization of perspective to call it geometry. And now you're removing the geometry you've bastardized perspective to be by drawing a curved line instead of a tangent line. What the fuck?
Here, I found another deceptive component even within the illustration, and then I actually made a claim on Discord yesterday that I couldn't get the stimulator to replicate Earth curving. I was going back to try to find that interaction. Somebody posted this, I guess, after the fact. And they actually got it to curve, so I'm going to give them that. The problem if you look at the point source of this light source, it's kind of high in the altitude, high altitude, which would mean that the medium is less dense. And the argument I made is, if from the ground, the medium is pretty much relatively the same at ground level. The only way you could get light to bend, you have to go from a less dense medium or less refractive medium to a more refractive medium. That's the only way you can get it to work. So they have to put the light source way up in the sky. Like even in your illustration before, the point is way up in the sky. But see, all of our observations are at ground level. So right there is a subtle shift. You understand what I'm driving at? It's a subtle shift.
Bit like Mr. Sensible, getting really high in relative altitude and then changing the light's trajectory from straight through a different medium, i.e. glass. But he's up in space by comparison to do that, looking down at a sharp angle. Well, while you might be able to achieve these effects, you're absolutely correct. And don't take what I say after this. You know, at ground level, you've got no medium change to make this constant trajectory change, constant deviations, plural, from straight. You don't have the effects that would give you that. Now, if you, like you say, you go up into the thinner air, then you might be able to blag that you could do it with great difficulty in a simulator. But ultimately speaking, it's not going to be achievable in real life. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I'm going to do this every time you do this, and I don't want you to think that I'm trying to poo-poo anything that you're saying, Paul. They don't need to do that, though, really. They just assume 7/6 or any variant thereof, the radius value. So they don't ever need to actually employ a simulator that's trying to replicate what the light would really do when it deviates from straight, i.e. refraction. They just say, because the Earth's round, by the way, light's bending around it. That's what they do.
No, I get it. But I'm trying to get them at I'm trying to pick holes even in their own explanation. Because if their own explanation starts to fall apart.
That's where I'm correcting you, though. That isn't their explanation. While in the trenches, they will talk at length about atmospheric effects and be able to qualify what you're looking at now as a layman, and probably do a better job of qualifying it than you. I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying that they will understand this better than you do. But that isn't their story. Their story is one of 7/6R, terrestrial refraction, assuming Earth's a sphere and that light bends around it, at the rate discussed in the mathematics, utilising the geometry of an R value. So, while you're right, it isn't their story to pick apart. Because in terms of what is refraction, and how you can describe it, detail it, cause it to curve, totally irrelevant in their story timeline. Only relevant at trench level, so they can convince us they know what they're talking about when they swindle in 7/6R, which is their actual story. A geometric, mathematical-based refraction, sod all to do with anything that's going on in the atmosphere, and everything to do with an R value that they're going to assume, and light bending around that value at the rate of that R value. So that's what they're going to be doing. In reality, that's their story. So if you ever want to attack their story of refraction, it's a story of 7/6 of the radius they presupposed the light will be bending around. And bend it will, because mathematically it's doing it at a rate of 7/6R, I assure you. It will be bending. Not in reality, but in the mathematical geometric model, at a rate dictated that they're just introduced because they want to. Therefore, the light in that model will bend. Always. At a perfect rate.
Good morning, guys.
Hey. But well done. Yes, you're right, Paul. And my minor correction is merely to say that you're investigating with a sense of wonderment rather than trying to debunk their story. And even if you've talked to them in an educated way about this subject, it doesn't mean this is their story. They might make it seem like it's their story, that's the whole point, but it isn't. So your investigations are merely debunking an assertion which is introduced by segue. So by segue, they're implying that the natural effects of atmospheric refraction, light deviating from straight, is what they are actually employing when they say, no, now we're going to just use 7/6R. That's refraction, that is. No, it isn't. That's terrestrial, mathematical, geometric-based, R-value-based. That's not refraction. But when they say it's got refraction in the word, and that's what I use, because I've talked educatedly about this in the same way you have, most people who aren't enlightened to this topic will just accept it because they don't realise they're being swindled.
I got you. I'm listening.
But I value what you're doing, is what I'm saying. I don't want you to see that as me saying, this is useless. It isn't. It's useless for debunking their version very specifically of what they end up using when they say refraction and mean terrestrial 7/6R, begging the question, R value geometric refraction. So that's what they're actually... The trick is, in this platform now, that's where the trick lies. That's the bit that needs highlighting. And your understanding is better for you to be armed when they are arguing in those contexts, but that isn't really... It's like a countermeasure. It's like, let's talk almost in a pissing competition way about who knows the reality of atmospheric refraction. So it was a hard one. I can verbalise this well because of Ranty. So me and Ranty would always be in this kind of back and forth where he's trying to investigate. He's got a much more exciting job than me. I'm trying to stamp on the bullshit. He's trying to expose the reality based on what he's seeing through the lens of a camera. Now you're not doing that necessarily, Paul, but you're doing it in a similar vein. You're trying to say, well, how does light actually behave? Here's a simulator of how light works. It's reasonably accurate as far as you can tell. Let's see what we can do with it. Well, that's trying to figure out how the world actually works. How does it actually operate? They have figured it out so they can back engineer it, talk about it like it's what they're doing when they've back engineered it and swapped it for something else. And those are the people that are the most, not concerning, but the most, eyebrow raising, whatever the words you want to use, because you think, okay, well, that at some point you're juxtaposing actual effects with geometric mathematical reifications. And there is always a point. I catch them all the time, but when they're doing it with other people who don't catch them, that's just a trick. They're con artists, swindling people. It's the bait and switch. You know what the bait and switch is? Anybody? Nobody's heard of the bait and switch?
Yeah, they say one thing and then they give you something else. It's in the old adage from selling. You say, well, I'm gonna give you this Porsche, but when you show up, it's a Pinto. That's a bait and switch.
Yeah. So if there's a movie Straw Man, or no, what's it called? Matchstick Men. And in Matchstick Men, the bait and switch is done with a bit of a long con that goes along to make the story pad out a little bit. But ultimately speaking, they've got a suitcase full of money, and they show the guy the suitcase full of money, thumbs through the money and checks it all. It's all there. It's real money. And they've actually got a second suitcase behind them. Once they've got their exchange done and they've got their foreign exchange money, different currency from him, they cause a commotion. He's distracted for half a second. They swap the cases out. And then what he's walking off with is a load of paper, with only the top of the paper an actual bill, in case he has a cursory glance after the fact. So you baited them in with a seemingly good deal. In this instance, a seemingly educated person when talking about what happens in our reality with our horizon that's horizontal, not a single point in a geometric maths. So when they're telling you about how they know about refraction, often you'll be able to check it out and it'll work and it'll all seem legit. But ultimately speaking, there's got to be a point where they swap the briefcase out from all of their educated talk about the foreign currency, or in this case, actual effects of refraction, for their bullshit version. A geometric version of refraction, terrestrial refraction, not refraction, maths. And once they've swindled that in without you noticing, caused a little distraction, then from there on in, you're talking about the maths of their bending light, which it doesn't seem to do. It's always travelling in a straight line, but based on them just deciding that it does do that. So that's their version of a bait and switch. Well, to do that, you've got to be a reasonably educated con man. And then when's the right moment to substitute what I'm talking about in terms of what we see in terms of the reality we are faced with this side-on model and the maths that it employs? They've got to know the right moment to swindle their opponent. And their opponent on this platform is not their target. The audience is swindling you, the person listening to me right now. Swindling you, and you not noticing when they substitute an R-based refraction assuming something they don't have anymore, a physical geometry with straight lines being drawn to physical obstructions that are blocking things and bending at altitude. When they don't have that, and they're swindling in something that makes it seem like they know what they're talking about with refraction, but aren't they using a model and maths? Well, know that you're being conned, and know that the person conning you is a very, very skilled con man. And that's who we deal with here. We're dealing with the elite of con men. And they're trying to con the people who are the most savvy, us. The people who are really looking out for. I'm not saying we're smarter than anybody else watching, but when you do it for 3 or 4 years, you really hone in on where they're trying to swindle you, and you're looking for the briefcase switch. That's what we're doing. We're keeping our eyes open for when they switch the briefcase, so we can catch them red-handed and go, ha ha ha. No, we're no longer talking about your very good knowledge about atmospheric conditions. We're now talking about R. Where have we got that from? You haven't even got a straight line drawn to it in your model anymore. You've got a donkey dick. And telling us we never see it.
Oh man, you're blowing up the trick though, man. We're not supposed to look inside the suitcase with the 76R. We're supposed to just ignore it.
Yeah, we're supposed
and
to walk off.
It's the other suitcase. We're not supposed to actually look inside though to see the trick.
Exactly. Supposed to have the case swindle, hold on to the case, and then walk off into the sunset holding a case that we think is full of atmospheric conditions. And it isn't. It's full of geometry.
Yep. Strikes me crazy that in order to save their R value, they have to literally apply math that changes the R value that they're trying to save. It's a little weird.
Dig in their own grave, Chocolate. I'm more than happy for this to happen. It's great.
What I'm trying to say in that previous present is that they don't have an R value.
Correct.
They're lying. It's like I'm looking up a meaning of red herring, and I'm trying to apply it to what I said earlier. So this little description of a red herring. In fiction and nonfiction, a red herring may be intentionally used by the writer to plant a false clue that leads readers, audiences towards a false conclusion. So when I said earlier that Jedi mind trick that Chocolate likes to use is that without atmosphere, you would be able to see the geometric horizon. That is the red herring. They want you to believe that it would actually be there if there was no atmosphere. But that is such a lie. That's because that can never be produced. So now you just got to trust them. So it's no longer geometric.
Not only does
Can't
it
be measurable.
right, and not only that, right? It doesn't seem logical that would even be the case, even if given what they say. The atmosphere would obscure what you're seeing, right? They're saying the removal of the atmosphere would condense the geometric horizon back from beyond 9 miles to 1.3 miles.
No. You guys are just caught up on the current
Are you
lie.
kidding?
What's happening here? 10th is you're caught up on the Jedi mind trick, and literally it is a hand wave to something that you know is blatantly obvious. In other words, if you were that stormtrooper, you'd have, metaphorically speaking, both of them on the end of your bayonet when he waved his hand in front of them. These aren't the droids you're looking for. This isn't the horizon you're looking for. It's not physical. We only ever see a geometric horizon if there's no atmosphere. You go, oh, wow. What was it you said that boat went over again? What did you say was blocking the bottom of the Isle of Man again? What do you mean we don't see one with atmosphere? You've been telling us for 4 straight years that it's blocking shit in the distance. What the bloody hell are you babbling about? You've been telling us non-stop just how physical and geometric it is. Do I need to dig out a few examples where you've told me and shown me in the geometric maths just how many feet and inches of stuff is supposed to be blocked by the physicality of your horizon you claim it is? But now wave your hand and say we never see a geometric horizon. Yeah, you've been telling us a bloke to go over it, you spastic. Yeah, you've been telling us it's physical, I assure you. We spent about a year on this image on screen, coincidentally, right now, with you telling us just how much of that physical horizon was blocking the bottom of this island. So what do you think your hand wave's going to make me forget just how many hours we spent in front of that geometric maths, with you telling us how much physicality was blocking this bloody island? I'm not, what's the word? Thick. Yeah, I haven't got short-term memory loss. I haven't just forgotten how much time we spent arguing about just how much geometry is blocking stuff in the distance. I'm not just going to forget that. And I assure you that the mainstream rhetoric that they punt won't forget it either. They're not suddenly going to stop saying boats go over the physical geometry of a horizon just because morons down here say, with a hand wave, we never see the horizon. Oh yeah? Well, I've got plenty of examples of you telling me just how physical it is, and how many boats are going over it, and just how much, in mathematical terms, we can qualify how much bloody obstruction of it we've got. He even said it in that little trimmed out clip I made. Right at the beginning of the clip, well, there's oodles of stuff being blocked by the horizon. At the beginning of the conversation. At the end of the conversation, we never see a geometric... Yeah, we didn't forget the beginning of this bloody conversation, morons. Yeah, you're supposed to be fighting for just how bloody physical it is. Twat brains, none of you have got a clue how screwed you are. While you hand wave and think we're going to forget 4 years of debate about how physical the horizon is. On screen again now. Where's the beach? According to you, fundy muppets, blocked behind a physical horizon that we never see with a hand wave. Apparently, this isn't a physical horizon. No, it's not blocking the beach. We've got atmosphere. No straight lines can be drawn for the mathematics to mock old lighthouse. Hold on, why did we spend a year with you telling us about the straight line geometry you're going to draw then? What was that all about? We haven't forgotten, we're not moronic. You think the hand wave and your Jedi mind trick's going to make us forget about the physicality you've been claiming all this time? You're very much mistaken. And I assure you the mainstream's not backing your bullshit either. They're not suddenly relinquishing the idea that we've got a physical geometric horizon for a sphere edge that boats can go over. And the 4 years of debate preceding your Jedi mind trick would also agree that you think it's physical. It's not. That's why you're all telling us how non-physical it is right now with a hand wave and a Jedi mind trick and a no atmosphere circumstance to see this blockage of the beach of the Isle of Man. What was that all about then? You fucking idiots, why were you telling us about blockage of physical horizons for the Isle of Man debate? Why have we made this model? You should have told us all along that you didn't have a physical geometric horizon. The whole thing was a waste of time. Why did we debate about the Isle of Man? You should have told that you can't draw straight lines. Donkey dick tangent lines. Oh, right, if we'd have known that, we wouldn't have made this model. Would we?
I am loving the new Muppet Vision. Donkey Dick Tangent Line.
Wait, is that from the picture that Tiff Man put in the Skype? What do you call it? Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm dying over here. This is so eerily similar to denying Coriolis.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by Paul Hall, 10th Man, Chocolate Saying, Righteous Force, Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. Welcome, one and all.
Morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Morning, people.
Good morning. Any evidence of a physical Earth curve edge capable of having a straight line tangent drawn to it?
No, it's arbitrary.
Well, you could do it, but first you would have to basically draw a geometrical conceptual model and try to, in your mind, then parallel that to the actual sightings on the Earth. And then it might work.
Well, that's handy. They've got that. They've definitely got that. They've got They've got a horizon in their geometric model that they can call geometric. I mean, it's not the horizon we experience, of course, but we can brush past that, right? Jedi mind trick. This is not the horizon you are looking for. This horizon on screen now is not a single point marked in Muppet Vision that we never see because we don't have atmosphere anyway in the model. So we don't have a geometric horizon ever. Okay, great. Happy days. Welcome to Flat Earth Fundies. Any evidence of any Earth curve ever?
Not from Port Wainimi.
Oh,
Not from
Earth
the
curve. Earth curve. I think the geometrical orientation of the realm's surface that we know is pretty much as good as flat. So,
Agreed. So only an aspect, definitely not a shape. Any signs of axial rotation?
Not Earth-based.
nope.
Any scientific evidence
Light
of
in the heaven rotates, so it seems, but not us, not the realm itself.
any scientific evidence of gravity? Go on, someone's got to have some balls.
Oh,
Discord?
only in the shed.
Only in the globalization model.
Where is Tony, by the way? Anybody heard of him since yesterday?
Heard of him? Who's Tony?
No.
Torsion bars. Torsion bars.
Anthony?
Torsion bars. This is a naturally observed
That's
phenomena.
No, that's a new ice cream. Torsion bars.
Ah, of course, by Nestle.
Yeah, that's right.
I think if we're sticking with the Star Wars analogies, Tony's on a godforsaken crusade.
I was listening back to the discussion we had about Cavendish, and Owen was absolutely on fire, like with only a mildly condescending tone, but enough to, if it was me on the receiving end of it, to piss me off even more. Like, yeah, it's not actually the bar that's the phenomena; it's the twist in the bar. When do we see that? We don't see things balanced out like that in nature. That's not natural. And you're like so casual about it. It's like, get you, Owen. Check you out with your definitely pinning down what should be their isolated independent variable, right? Torsion bar twist. Spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely learned my lesson concerning the inflexible nature of the scientific method and how to use it. So yeah, I'm starting to see it more and more. How diluted what the ballers do really is and how not scientific it is. Yeah.
And
then
he's
you just ask them the right question, and it's like they shit all over it, right? Because when I asked him, where do we see torsion bars in nature? He's like, that's absurd. Yeah, that's the whole point. That it's absurd. Dumbass. Like, sorry, man, but come on.
Yeah, that was great. Well, it would be absurd to ask me to show this completely non-natural man-made phenomena in nature. How on earth would I do such a thing?
Are you saying
Why like argue that it's natural?
so no torsion bars are involved when an apple falls to the ground?
It's not really a torsion bar. The stem of an apple, could it be argued that it's twisting in the wind and that's causing it to break? It's not really a torsion bar showing minuscule differences between an attractive force that's assumed at a 50,000 or 50 millionth to one scale, that's not really the same thing. I don't know. Maybe you can swindle that apple stalk twisting into being a torsion bar. You tell me.
Well, you can't
Any
have the
signs of
stalk.
apple
We've
stock twist?
The twist in the torsion bar has to be representative of something that's occurring during the apple's journey after the stalk snapped. The torsion bar has to be representative of that journey or the application of forces.
I see. So in other words, the stalk could only be analogous to like a prop that was holding the balls before you started the experiment, if you want to call it that. It's not. But by comparison, the force in the example of an apple falling is, as described by the last dude who was on here, Jim, the attractive force between the two things. Therefore, not sod all to do with the starting process of that mechanic. It's merely the prop being removed from the balls by analogy. Still bullshit though. It's in no way an experiment. I mean, what I quite liked is, although I only had a cursory look at it and left a couple of comments, I noticed Sly Sparkane probably puts Black Swan in his tags, bastard. But he's taking umbrage with the fact we've called him a fraud based on the fact that he hadn't got a slightest clue what a hypothesis is. So he came along after declaring to the world. Oh, he also took umbrage that it was out of date. It's like you're repeating the experiment that you claimed it was. He's decided to be a bit more moderate with his language and call it a test, and then go through the scientific methods and talk about hypotheses, which is great. Oh, funny times. Anyway, so he's taken umbrage with the fact that he is a fraud. He doesn't know what science was, claimed he'd got an experiment when he didn't have a valid hypothesis, or any hypothesis, leading me on nicely to my next question. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. Wow, groundbreaking stuff in this field, eh? You'd think these scientific fields would have come up with a hypothesis by now. Amazing. Nobody shocked in the audience if you think all of these claim to be sciences have actually got any science. Yeah, they're lying to you. They don't have any science. We'd have had a whole stack of hypotheses being validated in front of us by now. It's been about 6 months since I've asked this question. Any single viable hypothesis, scientific prediction, from any of the fields of astronomy, the people who tell you what space is. Yeah? Why haven't they got any? They're supposed to be science, aren't they?
Well, they do produce a lot of stories, though.
Unfortunately, I can't even get past step one of the scientific method. So,
Oh yeah,
they're doing past looking at stuff.
They can definitely get to step 1A, observe phenomena. Wow, look at that light. Sure. That's definitely a
look
phenomena.
at it. It's great. What do we do now, guys?
Right, let's get a pen and a bit of
try
paper.
To imagine what it could really be.
No, they have a writers' meeting. Sometimes, right?
Writers' meeting.
Yeah, sometimes they give you alternative stories, alternative versions. I can't parrot one off, but I will look this up. So I often parrot off the story of Thea. We all know the story. I'm going to familiarise the audience if they're not familiar already. So Earth's in orbit, all presupposition. No, I've got a technique for this now, haven't I? Right, here we go. So now we're in fantasy bullshit land. Right. And in fantasy bullshit land, Earth's falling around the sun, right? And there's another planet that's also falling around the sun, and they're not hitting each other, but they're on an eventual collision course. And this second planet's called Thea, the first planet's called Earth. It's not like the Earth we know, it's a much smaller planet, like the size of Mars is presupposed to be. Anyway, at a given time in history, Thea smashes into the Earth at a glancing blow, depositing its molten iron core into the fledgling Earth, increasing its size, making the mathematics of why our core hasn't cooled down work. That aside, the debris from Thea, which didn't destroy Earth because it hit it at a glancing blow, all of the debris flew off and orbited around this new massive cored planet. And that debris coalesced by the forces that are the bending of a conceptual medium known as space-time into what we now see as the moon. And that is the story of how the moon was born. True, because they made it up themselves. Now, although I can't offer it you here, I know there are alternative stories. Now, they probably get called theories. Alternative theories for how the moon was created. But nevertheless, that's the current bullshit, because they made it up themselves. But that's a writer's meeting. So they observe natural phenomena, wickets, tick, step one, scientific method, all well and good. Well, what do we do now? Formulate a hypothesis? Oh, no, we'd have to be thinking what caused that twinkly light we just looked at. That's a problem. So writers' meeting, let's all decide what caused that light. And we'll just compare stories. Maybe some of the stories will be mixed together. Old stories will have to be assessed to see if they work in the law that is bullshit. And then you've got your best story.
We'll need further artist illustrations to further enhance the story.
Exactly. Just like if you're writing a kid's storybook. You send it off to artists. They produce illustrations to go with the nice swirly text that's in the book.
Uncle Nathan, can I give one more bedtime story?
Maybe tomorrow we'll talk about the world that spins. Right. Right, we're back in the room.
I just wanted to ask you a question still in Narnia.
Oh, too late. You'll have to ask a fundamentalist religious zealot, and they won't give you violin music beforehand, I'm afraid, or harp music.
Yeah, we're only allowed one trip into Narnia a day.
Yeah. Don't spend too long in there, Arwen, because it starts to become real.
But it is real.
See?
In there.
What's happening?
In Narnia, it is very real.
In there.
That's true. He's not wrong. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Come on, Arwen. It's over there.
I know it's over there. I don't see it today, it's just a gray soup, so I'm not entirely sure where it is exactly.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
Nope.
Nah.
How do you test that? You don't.
Right, it's a violation of natural law, but it's also what they claim the sky is.
Yep.
You use a pipe.
That would be a container. No, a pipe's a container. Newsflash. Newsflash. A pipe is a container. Talking of Thea.
Containers in the definition.
Go ahead, say again.
I said containers in the definition.
For what?
Can't get around it.
Definition for what? Gas pressure?
Yeah, for gas pressure.
What, the force exerted on the walls of its container?
Yep, can't get around it.
But that would mean you absolutely would need a container to have gas pressure.
It's called an antecedent. Antecedent consequent relationships. Look it up. Fascinating stuff. Talking to Thea, though, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core increased in volume by Thea at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
I just had a question about that. But
hold on, we've got rumblings. We've got rumblings, though. Go ahead, Rebel.
In chat?
Oh, he's on server mute. Go ahead, Rebel.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Hey, good to be here with you guys. Good show. Thing about atmospheric pressure, or rather space balls. You guys remember the movie, the spin-off, Spaceballs, spin-off of Star Wars?
Yeah.
Of course I do.
The parody.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rebel.
Well, isn't that interesting that it was sort of right in our face, the whole idea of gas balls in space, when they talk about the scene about sucking the atmosphere with the vacuum. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Mega made He's
Yep.
gone
Yeah.
from suck to blow.
Yeah, hold on. Go ahead, Rebel. Go ahead.
As a kid, as I was watching this, it was immediately apparent to me the contradiction when I thought, vacuum is a vacuum, right? It's like a vacuum cleaner, right? And they, in the scene, of course, it's comedy and blah, blah, blah. They vacuum the atmosphere out. And I thought, interesting, how does that really work in the real world? Like, it just, to me, was very puzzling. And then Flat Earth topic came, and I sort of thought back of that movie. It's like somebody was trying to tell us something.
Yes, they were.
No, they were having a laugh at you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They were laughing
I
at
mean,
you.
somebody has to go over that movie
Well,
just
the
to see
joke-
what else they were saying. Blatantly.
Well, the joke
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Oh, no.
worked if Mel Brooks. I mean, Mel Brooks obviously understood that, right? The joke wouldn't have worked if you didn't have some type of a dome around or covering barrier container around the Earth to
But think
have
of it,
the air
he
in the
named
first
it-
place.
But
The movie is named
technically, how it
Spaceballs,
worked in
right?
Spaceball. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they did. They named it Spaceballs. Exactly. I just caught that too, man.
But
That's right.
in
Hey,
But in
another props.
Spaceballs, they had the shield.
I want to
Remember?
give props to Anthony and Nathan, of course, for yesterday's show. Right when you guys started talking about breaching the horizon with Rampus, I knew you guys baiting him. It was so freaking obvious. I don't know if you did it on purpose or not. I thought it was genius. And right when you got him to admit it wasn't geometric, it was hilarious, man. That was really well done. It's the way to, I mean, baiting sophists is the way to sort of reveal their duplicitous nature. And you've done it brilliantly. That was a well done job.
Well, it wasn't planned, no. Quite the contrary. If you listen, I'll put a link to the full show below the little snippet I did. But no, Anthony was like, I want to have Rumpus on. I was like, no. I'm not interested. He's a liar. So I was like, very negative about having him on at all. Anthony convinced him to come on. But no, we don't. There is no rehearsing these things or planning these things in those sorts of ways. It's always organic.
Well, okay. Well, kudos to you. I mean, I felt that you were baiting him, right? Like right in the beginning of the conversation. I'm going, where is he going with this? I think he's going to go and talk about apparent versus geometric. And exactly what you got him to do. Anyway, if it was organic, it's even better. Hey, Nathan, I have a question for you. It kept bothering me every time I hear that. When you rattle off this explanation, the mainstream explanation about what the objects in the distance are or the horizon, you keep referring to, you have to rattle it off because I can't do it. You keep referring to the hyena hologram or something like this.
Sure.
You have to probably repeat the rattle, but I don't know, what do you mean by that? Is that a scientific term? Is that the term readily used in...
the hyena bit? I thought you wanted me to explain the full spiel. You just want the explanation for the hyena bit?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, so there's a dude in chat. He's probably got a different name by now. But Tim Osman, who's been punting the exact same observation from then until now, right, had some hyenas on the flats. And at the time, the terminology that was being bantered around was slightly looming. It's all slightly looming, meaning everything's a bloody hologram, nothing's where it's supposed to be. But nevertheless, slightly looming was the word of the day amongst fundy globeheads. So we ended up with a slightly looming hyena, right? So then we ended up with a guy in the chat who decided to call himself slightly looming hyena. But then that got elaborated on because slightly looming is an addition to what they call standard refraction, otherwise known as terrestrial refraction. So then you end up with, if it's slightly looming, which would be an extreme effect of refraction, then it's a slightly looming non-standard refraction of whatever it is you're looking at. In this case, a hyena. So you end up with a slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena.
So there's a good background to it. Yeah, I thought, what is he talking about? Did I miss something, or I'm not familiar with the term? I even actually Googled it. I'm like, that nothing comes up.
Sure.
Good.
I mean, by comparison, Arwin's just put up another spin on the similar thing. So he's got a prismatic fractal looming chameleon.
Right.
Just bullshit animals. It's drawing a farce to, the fact that they're just employing word salad when they've got an effect that they don't or can't make sense of with geometry. Suddenly everything's slightly looming, or extreme looming, or non-standard refraction, whatever.
Or super mega looming.
Super mega looming. Infinite
Which
over R
Rumpus has
looming.
said.
That was so good.
Arwin can back me up. Rumpus has said super mega looming.
Yeah. I
Rebel,
felt like
put
I was
yourself
in
on
a
mute,
Transformer movie.
It's great.
Rebel,
Right,
put yourself on mute when you're not talking, please. You're reverbing through. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to do a few shout outs. So, I did actually shout these guys out in the pre-show, but I'll shout them out again because I've got quite a few new members, or 3. So, Eric McNerney, thank you very much for joining as a hyena. Also, 2 shout outs to DJ Neo Shaman, who joined as a penguin and then joined again as a lion. So, I think he upgraded his membership. But thank you very much indeed for joining as a member, DJ Neo Shaman. Also, Roscoe, Truth in Your Face. Check him out today. He's been on the panel a couple of times. He's also a videographer, so check out Truth in Your Face. He's a YouTuber. But thank you very much for joining, Roscoe. And also, from the show today, a few super chats. So, James Dean says, Dean Coots, The Eyes of Darkness. Thank you very much indeed, Jason Dean, for the super chat. Also, FE News says, Ranty is ace. He is. Ranty is ace. That's very true. And another super chat from FE News, but it's the last one on the list, so of course it goes beyond the list for some reason in YouTube, but I'll see if I can scroll down and find you. Give me a second. Hopefully this non-stop babble from me is enough time to buy. Here we go. Shout out to the Rumpus for debunking soundly. Right on. Thank you very much for all the super chats. FE News. I'm nearly there. Just one more. John M. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. He says, I need a link of real-time feed of one of the thousands of satellites at minimum of 1,000 miles from Earth showing stars and Earth 24/7. Thank you very much for the super chat, John M. Very interesting you should say that, on account of the fact that that was kind of one of the things that flashed through my mind when I first heard Math Powerland utter the words flat Earth, was that I actually did exactly the same thing. I was looking for real-time weather, similar, to put on my desktop on the computer before the one I've got now. And that's what I want. Mark Sargent's got a similar story. When the iPhone came out, it had the blue marble on it, and he wanted to do that for a network he was putting together. And it wasn't a network, it was just my home computer, but I wanted that. I was like, yeah, man, surely we've got satellites, right? I'll be able to get real-time weather data just straight onto my desktop, just as an interesting folly. Was I wrong? So I did the same thing everyone else did. You search for the images of Earth from space, you end up with the exact same image, or duplicates of the same image, or slightly contrast-changed version of the same image. It's all the same image. Since then, there's been several that have come out since that particular time for me, so now you probably get a slightly more varied Google search than I did back then, but I was like, God, there's nothing out there. Now, it's another one of those things that you put on the back burner, you don't necessarily give it too much thought. I didn't immediately go, well, obviously they're lying about the Earth being a sphere then. I didn't think of anything of the sort, but like I say, when Math Powerland was like, talking about flat Earth, basically, that was one of the things that flashed through my mind. I was like, oh my God, there aren't any pictures. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. What was his name again? John M. Brings back memories. There's Sleeping Warrior. Who was asking after him earlier? He's in the chat right now. I was asking after him. Oh, right. Well, there he is. Good job. I pointed him out.
We got a baller in here. RB 1985.
Hey, RB. Share your pain.
RB 1985.
Maybe he
Do you have
could
anything to say? Over.
RB, can you share your horizon first?
You hear me?
We hear you. Good to have you. We're all in good moods. You're probably not going to get too much grief.
Sorry?
Good to have you, Abby.
Thank you. Good. Nice show. Not really to say much.
Well, thanks for being here, man.
I think that's it.
Is he sitting on his mic? Or what?
I think that's it. I don't think he's got a great deal to offer. I think that's probably all we get out of him. Well, it was a pleasure. You can see why he wanted to join the debate. Maybe that's a question I can ask you, Abby. Why did you join a flat Earth debate? Well, I was feeling a bit insecure about my religion, so I thought if I went and affirmed it by arguing with people who were obviously wrong, that I'd affirm my position in my sphere belief. So that's why I'm here. Oh, well, thank you very much, Abby.
So true.
No, not at all. No, I wasn't prepared to actually join talking. Normally just listen. Chat.
No, I appreciate that. I'm just intrigued. Or why would you want to listen in an interactive manner where you could participate? Because obviously you could just watch the show on YouTube.
Mostly because English isn't my native language, and therefore I'm gonna struggle a lot.
That might be quite useful. When we are discussing the geometric horizon in the geometric Earth curve model that says we're on a physical sphere, does that all make sense?
No, I'm not a baller.
You're not a baller? Ah, this is a waste of time.
I know.
Good to have you anyway.
Hey, Nathan, in the absence of ballers, I want to read something here. You remember that the guy said the best you've done is disprove the radius of the Earth?
That old chestnut. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just typed in, what if the radius doubled? What if the Earth's diameter doubled? What would happen? In their construct, of course, not in reality. If the Earth's diameter were doubled to about 16,000 miles, the planet's mass would increase 8 times and the force of gravity on the planet would be twice as strong. If gravity were twice as strong, bodies possessing the same construction and mass as our flora and fauna would weigh twice as much and would collapse. It'd be timber for tall, thick trees such as redwoods. Large sunward-reaching plants might still develop, but would require stiffer architectures of cellulose fibers and other material altogether. Animals would have to be thicker-legged to support their weight. As for humans, our appearance would depend on the evolutionary demands placed on our biological forebears. In a higher gravity world, said Neil Cummins. So we would, as humans, double our weight. Now, that's if the Earth's radius just doubled. But based on the Black Swan picture, at 10 miles, the Earth's radius would go from 3,959 miles to 240,230 miles, slightly more than double. We would all be dead on their model.
Nothing can ever work on their model anyway. By the way, I made a little update of my prismatic fractal looming chameleon.
I can't read it. It's too small. You have to read it.
He says
This is not the horizon you are looking for.
I need to be holding up a paw or whatever they call it. Claw. Like doing a hand wave. This is not the horizon you are looking for. The horizon that is geometric cannot be seen.
Exactly.
Then you need, if it was a cartoon, in the next slide, you'd have that chameleon scratching the face of the person saying it. and like they're shaking them, going, "What the hell are you saying? Boats went over."
Well, or maybe he's gonna try to undo the human's perspective by trying to suck its eye out with its long tongue.
As I said in the pre-show, that trimmed out bit from Rumpus yesterday, he starts off by saying, "There's oodles of stuff being obscured by the horizon," and by the end, the horizon we see isn't geometric. It's just like the double speak is so thick at the moment. It's great.
Did you hear the hesitation in him responding to that though? That's what was the most precious about it.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
He kind of just, he just didn't want to answer. He actually just got quiet for like a few seconds. He just didn't say anything. The first time you asked him, he did say no, and then he started to backtrack and try to come up with some more bullshit. But then he did end up saying no again. So,
well, he wanted to say no. It's apparent. Inserting a redundant word so he can still flip between there being two horizons, and he did. So at the point that I've got the model on screen, he says, "Well, we've got a geometric horizon, and we've got," and I said, "No, you've just spent 5 minutes explaining how we haven't got a geometric horizon." What he means is, I'm going to decide that we've got one because the model's got one, and I'm going to base everything that the model says would be a consequence of this geometric horizon. It's our value it's based on. But in reality, I've got to defend that it's not doing what it physically should do, and therefore say we never see it with a hand wave, even though we spent 4 years arguing about how physical it is and how much it blocks. It's a very awful position to be a glober at the moment.
Defending the not actual is a tough job.
Well, he's defending it, like I say in that clip. He starts off by telling us just how much is being blocked by the horizon.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello.
We got a new contestant here.
Don't call them contestants, they'll get scared.
Oh, pardon me. We have a new guest, Nathan. Caponac. Come in, Caponac.
Hello, Nathan. Can you hear me?
Hey, Caponac, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good to have you.
Yes, I'm not a globe believer. I know that we live on flat. Can I say something to your panel and to you?
By all means.
Sorry on my bad English. I'm from Croatia. I think there are 3 levels of flat Earth introduction. First level is Mark Sargent, and his level is you give people a model so they can how to say
conceptualize.
If you yes, if the first time you are introduced to flat Earth is you, Nathan, then this is I will say my experience. I first listen to your channel, and I hear moron, utter idiot, retard. I say, what the hell? Then the second was Mark Sargent, and I listened to Mark Sargent, Eric Dubay, and this kind of proofs. And when I realize I'm not living on, because I didn't want to see what my eyes saw but my mind was so indoctrinated that it's very hard to get out of this this school indoctrination. So the second level is guys like Globusters, I don't know, David Weiss, Dave Murphy, Sleeping Warrior, Arvin, and the third level is demolition, and that's you, Nate. You demolish in the most how to say in the science way. You use real exact science to that people can see that we are all being fools. Do we live on do we live on a flat plane? Do we live on a I don't know, some kind of realm? I don't know, but there's no way that we live on globe. So and just want to say that black swan image. I think there are two ways to see that picture. First is the way the QE presented and you and your panel. But if your mind is in, if your mind knows that you live on a flat plane, then in my position, for me is white. But I know that majority of people do believe that we live on a globe. So black swan is really black swan. But I hope that this beautiful example will show people and many examples like that. But black swan is beautiful because you really know where these oil rigs are. You know the distances, and QE really good, really presented this in a beautiful way. So I just want to say that you are really and your panel and people and really trying to do the best. And I personally just want to say that I know many people in Croatia and my friends who really enjoy your show, and they see with different eyes. So thank you for
thank you for the
effort.
kind words.
And I just want to say QE once really he's really good in predictions. So when he predicts something, we when time passes, we see that his prediction was good. I predict in 1 year that Brenda will be the best promoter of flat Earth when after you, Nathan, for some time, get out from Brenda this globe retard think that Brenda will be the best promoter flat Earth in 1 year. That's
I kind of know what you mean. Brenda's become a bit of a yardstick for sort of very average kind of globehead mentality. She's not the sharpest tool in the box. She's not stupid either. She's just kind of got standard rhetoric, fairly middle of the road. So she's a reasonably good yardstick to say, you know, where's Brenda's comprehension in this scheme of things? And that's a fairly good sort of, generally the globeheads will be that kind of standard. You know, we've got two horizons, a geometric one and an apparent one. That kind of standard is the general standard, and it's Brenda's standard. So she ends up being the yardstick, which maybe she likes. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know. I'm just going to read out a few super chats. So big shout out to John M again. He says, any link of sun visible 24/7 live from poles. Well, I've got one pole. So tracking the sun on Earth live, if you want to see it in what they call the Northern Hemisphere for 24/7. A dude kept on tuning in, showing us his sun constantly up above the horizon. As for the South Pole, unfortunately not, from personal testimony of Robert Shortman. It's my most popular video if you want to check it out. I obviously haven't been to Antarctica, but he spent 18 months, 12 months consecutively in Antarctica, and there was no 24-hour sun according to his testimony, so check that out. That's Robert Shortman. The video is called Confessions of an Antarctic Plumber. Also, I think somebody was backing you up, my friend. Let's just have a look. There was another super chat. I vaguely read it as it went by. Just give me 1 second. I think it was from Retro Bill. There it is. Retro Bill, well said. I definitely understand his English better than I do most ballers. Yeah. I mean, obviously it's just like a language. You disclaim that, but yeah, you got everything out, and it was concise enough. Perfect. Thank you very much, Retro Bill, for the super chat.
I think I want to give a shout out to Croatia. It's awesome that people in Croatia are listening to your show. Shout out to everybody listening. Why not? Earth is flat.
Yeah. Also, did you say that Brenda's not stupid? Sorry.
Say again, Travis.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on chocolate there, but did I hear you say that Brenda's not stupid?
No, I don't. I think it's unreasonable to call her stupid. She's not. She says stupid things. Everybody says stupid things. Everybody makes mistakes. So if you tar her with the brush of one mistake she might have made, then yeah, you can call her stupid in that instance. But as a general standard, I wouldn't call Brenda stupid. She's not Dawn. Sorry if you're listening to this, Dawn.
I think she's generally a
Dawn,
habitual...
Go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's other yardsticks out there. If you want to take a yardstick for the sort of who's the kind of the dumb level, the commenters that come in the chat, the comment section and say you didn't disprove anything, you're a moron. That's the Dawn level. He's our yardstick for the the lower down the scale people. So there's no way of sugarcoating it, right? And then you've got the upper level, and I'm sure he'll love this. This will make him. Anyway, let's not do some graphic descriptions of what he'll be doing, but people like the Rumpus. He's at the other end of the scale. Well, Brenda sits between Dawn and Rumpus. Wouldn't you agree?
Not entirely.
That's...
But I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, Dawn's an absolute moron. Yeah, I understand. Brenda can actually, form a sentence and everything, but I'm up to date with Live Debate, and I know for a fact that Brenda said probably over 1,000 idiotic things. So I'm going back and listening to it right now, and I'm just going to make a list, and then we'll just see.
Well, she's a pretty wild philosopher by her own words, so I'm not surprised.
Okay, I mean, we can agree to disagree. That's just, I mean, everyone's got their own yardsticks. If we've got just those three yardsticks, so Rumpus, and then Brenda, and then Dawn. If I named some other prevalent characters, we'll use that as the classification system, just for a bit of fun towards the end of the show. Why not, right? So if I said Soundly, where would he sit? You can only pick one. You can't say, between one or the other. Just pick one on the scale.
I'm sorry, can you restate that last part?
I'll give you the scale again. So the top of the scale is your Rumpus, bottom of the scale is your Dawn, your middle of the scale is your Brenda, and then you've got to sort of stick them in a grouping with one of those three people. So if I say Soundly, do you say he's at the Dawn end of the scale, at the Brenda end of the scale, or at the Rumpus end of the scale?
I would say that he is above Brenda and below Rumpus.
I just said you can't do that. You've got to put them with one.
I go for Brenda.
Okay.
Brenda. Okay, fair enough.
I think I'd probably put him with Rumpus.
You'd put him with Rumpus? I'd probably put Soundly up at the higher levels, personally. Good con
I don't know.
artist.
I've caught him in
I love-
situations where he just really didn't really know what to say, and so I don't know. He can formulate a sentence if he's well prepared, but yeah, he can get stuck very easily if it's a live situation. I've seen it. So he's not that smart. I think that also, what is smart, what is dumb? I think there's really a big difference within the baller range of that as to who is really educated and who is completely uneducated. And then on top of that education level, how delusional are they? Because the more educated, the more delusional they tend to become. And if they're not that educated, they're just dumb and gullible, rather. And that's more like Don, because he knows he's not educated, but he still believes.
Okay.
Rumpus is absolutely educated, but he just keeps doubling down on, well, his mistakes, as it were.
Exactly.
And
Everyone's
so does
got
Brenda
different.
very deeply.
Exactly. Everyone's got different standards of qualification of where they've been stupid. There's plenty of examples. People throw them at me all the time for where I've shown how stupid I am. Nobody's infallible. However, just for fun, stick some other people in. It's only for fun. I'm just doing this for comic relief, really. But there we go. Not for psychological evaluation of these people. Anyway, moving on. Let's pick someone else. Unless someone else has got someone in mind, and we'll just categorise them. Who else we got?
How about RC Meisty?
Who's RC Meisty?
You don't remember RC Meisty,
You don't
the
remember.
fallacy guy?
Who?
Mr. Reverse Reification Fallacy guy.
Oh, him. Oh, Brenda level.
How about Kosho?
Yeah, that makes sense. Brenda level. Yeah.
Kosho, Brenda level.
Probably
Mark
the same
Taylor.
Orthodox, right?
Mark Taylor. Dawn level.
Absolutely.
What about Sean Hawkins, who's in the chat right now?
Dawn.
Dawn level.
Dawn.
Clearly. About George Netanyahu.
Rumpus.
Yeah, I'd put him at
Yeah.
the rumpus level.
He's above Brenda.
Yes.
About Mr.
Oh, no,
Sensible.
man.
Well, it's also about how
open
bad does their mistakes get, And
Closed thermos being an open system, man. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. For George, that's got to be a point dropper right there. But proceed.
I wouldn't. I've
He's just
seen
double speaker
George
like
around
that.
the circuit for a very, very long time. George isn't stupid by any stretch of the imagination.
yes, agreed.
Yeah,
How
not
about
stupid,
Louis Boy
but-
Hackett?
Oh, who's that? Say again, Travis.
Louis Boy Hackett, Lewis Hackett.
I don't really have that much interaction with him. The only examples I've had or interactions I've had with him is demonstrated to be very stupid, but I don't think he is. I'd probably put him at the Brenda level.
Yes, I agree. Because he is not stupid, but again, for all that lack of stupidity, the delusion becomes just as strong. And that's really what typically happens.
Okay, I got two. Zanuck and Wiggles.
Oh dear.
Oh, Wiggles, I don't know that well. Zanuck I'd put at the higher levels. Just do a quick shout out to Dave. Shout out to Rakia Life. Shout out to my favourite creator of content, Jesus Christ. Creation points towards creator, Rakia. Thank you very much for the super chat, Rakia Life.
Right.
Was there someone else that smashed the super chat that I missed? Maybe.
Nobody's better at creating content than the creator himself.
What, did you say you've got two? Chocolate.
Oh, I said Zanuck and Wiggles. Oh, I guess you could throw unorthodox in there if you want.
Unorthodox is pretty thick. Unorthodox is at the Dawn level, but really wants to be at the Brenda level. A bit like Slice Barcane. Slice Barcane's at the Brenda level, but really, in his mind, thinks he's at the Rumpus level.
Well, maybe you
How
could
about
go
Zinder?
for a 5-step system. You say like Dawn and a half or Brenda and a half.
No half steps. You can't be half. No, Just for the fun of the game, it's more interesting to just say, yeah, he's dumb. Yeah, he's smart. It's completely arbitrary. This is just for fun.
Wait a second. The smart ones are actually just really good bullshitters.
Yeah, good con artists. That's what I said about Soundly. Just a really good con artist. Others aren't so good at being con artists. Some just demonstrate their stupidity and shoot themselves in the face every time they open their mouth. So, you know, there's the 3 qualifications for stupidity. Who else we got? Who else is a prevalent baller? Wolfie. There you go. I don't have many interactions with Wolfie. It's a tough one. Getting harder, aren't they?
Well, I've just never heard him really argue too much, except for maybe in the beginning of the shows. So
About
I would
Bob
say
the
probably
fallacy
automatically
guy.
like Brendan.
Oh, that's a good one from the super chat.
Wolfie?
Bob the fallacy guy. That's a good one. Got the good. They're getting good now. They're getting harder. Where would we put Bob the fallacy guy?
Well, yeah, you'd say Brenda level, but really, so he's so much more delusional for the level of education he actually has. So I'd actually drop him down to the Sean level.
Yeah, I was thinking Sean level, hoping to be Brenda level. He's pretty dumb. But I'm going to say no. If we've got to categorise him, I wouldn't put him as that
Wait,
stupid.
did Sean replace Dawn?
Oh, sorry, not
The
Sean level, Dawn
now?
level.
Yes,
Or is that
yes, he
lower?
did.
Is that
Same
a
thing.
lower tier?
No,
He's
same
in
thing,
chat
same
right
thing.
now. Oh.
Right, got a couple of from the super chat. We've got Tim Osman. Where's Tim Osman? Oh, we're going to put Bob the fallacy guy in at the Brenda level?
Yeah,
Umming
I
and ahhing
guess.
about putting him at the Dawn level. He's not that stupid, is he?
No, yeah. I guess Brenda will work. I guess.
What about Tim Osman?
Guys,
Tim Osman?
I have a warning. If we keep this up for too long, we will start to sound like we are like a school gang or something.
That's all it is. That's exactly what this is. This is playground talk. There's no ballers here to argue with us. Fuck it, we'll just talk. Excuse my language. Don't kick me out. Oh, it's my show. Hooray! Right, Jose Gonzalez. I'm sorry about this Dawn level. Sorry.
Dawn better. Dawn.
No,
What about Tim Osman?
it has to be Sean level because Don has never done such amazing things.
I would actually put Tim Osman at the higher level. This might shock people. Tim's smarter than he lets on. He's actually, yeah, he can get away with.
I'll concur with that.
Yeah, he's a lot smarter than he lets on. That's why he's successful at trolling. He's got low ambitions and high intelligence. Anybody else? This is fun. Playground stuff.
Professor Phil Bell, although you probably don't know him that much.
What I've seen from him is dumb as hell. Oh, got some great quotes from him. I screenshotted some great comments that he left for me.
Right.
He said in capital letters.
I put him on the
He said,
Brenda
get this
level,
right. He said in capital letters, a hypothesis is not a prediction. I kid you not. Dawn level. Definitely Dawn level.
What?
No.
So
He,
He
he's
did that
Brenda
in
level.
capital
No,
letters.
but listen up. He is really Brenda level because he is kind of educated. He's just really doubling down for some reason. So deep. He's so zealous. But he does know things. So I would put him on the Brenda level, but it does look kind of ridiculous at times. But yeah, so does Brenda, as we all know.
I'll take your word for it. I don't have enough interactions to know. What about conspiracy cats? I'd put him squarely on the Brenda level. Not thick.
Yeah. Because I think he knows. Not divining his thoughts, but he's smarter than he lets on.
Oh yeah, he's in a lot of cognitive pain. Check out Haunted House's interview with him. It's very telling. Airplane pilot says Red Man 116. Airplane pilot. What is that? Is that somebody I don't know? Is that a YouTuber? Anybody know what that's referencing?
Is that nose down while pitching up guy?
Oh, I can't remember.
that airline pilot that came on that time.
Oh, he's not a prevalent YouTuber though.
Yeah.
We're not going to rate people like Blind Sniper because people wouldn't know who they were. You'd say Dawn. People have seen him on the circuit, heard his voice, know who he is. So,
I got another one.
Go on.
How about Akumu virus?
Again, there's no point. It's just, no one's going to heard of him. Do Jose. What level? We
have
already
heard
did
him.
Jose. Sorry, just shout out. Hold on, let me just shout out the super chatter. Mario knows it's flat. We already did Jose. He's at Dawn level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about Red Rhetoric?
But Akumi virus has been on the show a couple of times. Remember?
Yeah, but he's not got a channel. You wouldn't. Although Dawn hasn't got a channel, he's on the circuit enough to know exactly who he is if you've been here for more than a few months. Whereas you're not going to know who Akumi virus is.
Okay.
Red Rhetoric.
Ooh. I'd put her on Brenda level. Him.
Yeah, I agree. Any more? Got a couple more from Retro Bill, and then we're going to round out the live show. Any more for any more?
You got another super chat.
Yeah,
How about Gem Panda?
Gem Panda.
Brenda level.
Yeah, just box standard Brenda level. Laurie says,
Oh, really? Give him Rumpus.
"You would give him Rumpus."
No, I said, oh, really? You would not give him Rumpus? He
No, definitely
came in
not.
here and argued with you for months.
Mate, if you want to make a case for him being at Rumpus level, I'm quite shocked if you couldn't tell from my tone, but go ahead.
No, I was just surprised to hear that. I mean, I don't know much of Gem Panda. I don't really listen to him, but he was in here and argued in the beginning with you for quite a while. Seemed to be able to hold his own decently until the tidal wave of truth and understanding and realization came through and whisked them all away.
Right. So he's not that capable compared to, for example, Rumpus, that is still ongoing despite all that.
Exactly.
Well, Rumpus is the Energizer Bunny.
Right, great show. Keep up with the good content.
The upper echelons of this ranking system was literally on here yesterday conceding the geometric horizon.
Let's just do one last
wealth for them.
Just do one last one before I round out the live show. So Professor Dave, also that flat fellow, says, "Great show, keep up the great content." This has been total trash, the flat fellow, but thank you anyway. Nothing wrong with trash once in a while. We don't often do it. Just the last one from Retro Bill. So Professor Dave. Anybody have any extensive? I have no idea what he's like.
No. I have no idea.
The level of intellectual dishonesty alone, claiming he's a professor, that should put him at the Brenda level, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I don't have enough interactions with him. From what we've seen, he's just utilised all the box
I
standard
wouldn't
arguments.
I wouldn't say Dawn level. I would say more Brenda level, but
Important things, very important things that we're discussing here. So with that, I'm going to say, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where I bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Again, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making this live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Do this now with us. And all the flat earthers is going to explode.
of course, who cares, man? Go ahead.
We just lit the fuse of this idea, this occupational thing, and they're all going to do it, I bet you.
What, they're all going to... Yeah, do you not think I'm going to be in the slightest bit not shocked or whatever if I see somebody now categorising us in the dumb category? So everyone on Flat Earth Debate will be at the equivalent of Dawn
We're
level.
all going to be classified dumb as rocks.
Who's gonna be the Dawn on their side?
Why do they even
That's the
need a
question.
system?
Go ahead, say again. Hold on, go ahead, say again. in
I
Discord.
said, who's gonna be the Don on their side?
They're gonna continue the scale downwards beyond Sean level and then put us there.
Yeah, exactly. So what? Who cares? Well,
I don't
just
care,
like
but it's funny because I just know they're gonna do it now, because they're all listening and they can't help themselves.
oh come on, they have a whole award ceremony at this level of playground mentality. This is hardly anything new.
I don't care what they do. That was fun.
I agree. I enjoyed that immensely. It's terrible lowbrow stuff.
I agree.
Very lowbrow, but oh well.
Well, in the absence
Actually,
of
a great deal of
ballers,
these
what else
people
can you
deserve
do?
it.
That's what happens when you don't come in and debate with us. We're just going to take the piss out of you. Playground level.
All tardy.
Like I said, but like I said, what else we're gonna do, right? Because the upper echelon of that rating scale was literally on here yesterday and conceded that we never see the geometric horizon. So what are we doing after that? Now we're just doing cleanup. The entire geometry they need for their model, they don't have. So here we are.
How did that start? How did we start classifying them?
I have no idea how that started.
Boredom.
No, it was the dude in Discord. He was saying like he brought up Brenda and was like using her as like a standardized description. And I was like, yeah, I kind of use Brenda as a yardstick, and it kind of evolved from there, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was me, Travis, and you had said that Brenda's not stupid, and I just disagreed with you. And then it all ensued.
Nothing more entertaining than an argument with amongst ourselves about how stupid our opponents are. No, she's definitely more stupid than that. Hey, Sleepy Warrior.
I actually read Jose's regularly. So
Hold
hey,
up, Riley.
hey, Tony.
I also put Soundly up at the top end alongside Rumpus Nathan. I agree with you. He absolutely knows that it's not a sphere. Remember, he was leading GeoStreamer, telling him, yeah, remember to go back to that definition he cites too. He knows.
Yeah, if there's puppets at the Brenda level, he's a puppet master.
He is.
I wonder why he's decidedly absent. I don't follow Soundly, but we were informed yesterday that he's been decidedly absent for the last few months.
Yeah, his most recent video is entitled Moving On, indicating that he's had enough of Flat Earth now, or been sacked from the payroll because he's been dumped, whatever.
Once again, if they have a problem with the rating scale, let's remember that the dumb fuck of the year just arrived. All right, that's their shit.
Why are you concerned? That was what I was trying to get in. It seemed like in between the shows, you were all suddenly expressing your concerns that we're going to get rated, like it doesn't happen continually on a daily basis. Like we're not continually ad homed in lieu of our arguments.
I love it.
Hey, QE.
But I'm thinking if Riley's the dumb fuck of the year, does that make him the upper echelon of the fatter scale? Or how does that work?
The way I see it is, if you rated the
wonder if they're going to put me at the bottom of the scale because they hate me so much.
How does that work though?
If you voted by majority consensus by a group of morons that think gravity's a force, even though it's literally in black and white that it's not a force, it's an effect, right? If these are the morons that are voting me dumb fuck of the year, that tells me that I'm being voted dumb fuck of the year by a group of dumb fucks, and that group of dumb fucks are stupid. Now, if that means that I'm the king of the stupid, okay, then I'm the king of the stupid. But I don't actually see it as a derogatory when the retards on Ball Earth side are the ones that are calling me it. So it's like, well, and ranty. So it's for me, it's like it's just taking it away from them.
It's just funny, bro. I'm glad you took it away from them. Fuck them.
I'm gonna do it again next year. I'm gonna do it again next year.
We're dumb fucking year. Y'all can't even decide if your damn geometric horizon is physical or not, but you calling people dumb fuck of the year. Y'all got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
Y'all conceding all your points for 5 years. Y'all got enough shit to worry about, guys. Dumb fuck of the year. Give yourselves that shit.
You can't win it
Maybe
twice
get
on the
another
run.
argument. Anyway, I'm done.
You can't win it twice on the run. So even though their own rules say that I can't win it twice, I'm still going to apply for it, run for it like it's a presidential candidacy, just to piss them off. And I think we should all run for it because being called dumb fucks by dumb fucks is not. It's a double negative.
Yeah.
I don't think it works like that. It's like saying if I've got a broken leg and I use that broken leg to break someone else's broken leg, then it kind of cancels itself out.
Oh no, it does work like that. It's a double negative. Absolutely. That's the way I see it.
It's not if they call you dumb, it's how they call you dumb.
Yeah.
It's interesting where they want to insert term limits in.
Insert what?
Term limits.
Turn limits.
Yeah, Anthony said you can't win it twice, so
Term.
Oh, term.
Limits.
Term limits.
yeah, they want to insert it here, but they don't want it with their bought-off politicians.
What's up, QE?
Sorry about that. Good morning.
Morning.
John,
Shut
what
up.
time is it? Is it 8 a.m. for you?
Shut up.
Good
Who are you
afternoon.
telling us shut up already?
It's just warming up. It's warming up his lungs. Right, just got to warm up the lungs. Shut up, crayon muncher. Shut up.
Good morning, General Patton.
Get it. Are those heels together?
I gave you 20 already. Don't ask for more.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Okay, eat with your mouth closed.
I love the B rating.
How is he gonna shut his mouth when he's talking?
Yeah.
That's the joke. That's the whole point.
Hey, I got a question real quick. There used to be a Ballbusters channel called Ballbusters Listen In or something. Anybody know what happened to that? Over?
Never heard of it.
It's
When
a
did that
Discord
happen?
channel. It's a Discord channel right by the live stream and everything. It used to be.
What do you mean in the server? I don't know what happened to that.
Yep. You know what I'm talking about, though?
You talking
No.
about the bot?
In the in the Ballbusters channels in this server, Science versus Pseudoscience, there's a live stream. There was also a listen in tab as well.
Yes,
Like a listen
Xerix was working on a bot where people can just come and listen, but she couldn't get the bot working, so I think she got rid of it.
Okay, she couldn't get it working. Yeah, okay. Okay, just checking. I was trying to see if there would be a way to get it going with this show to reduce the Discord non-participants in the live stream.
Well, everything seems to be working fine now. In a sense.
I think he's saying so that more people can just listen if they want to, and more people can just jump in and actually participate, which makes sense.
Yeah, so because the show is so awesome that you have all these people that want to be able to listen in, they want to hear every day the pre-show, the show, the after show. They're hooked. And I
Well, the most
understand I'm one of
dedicated
us.
ones make it on, and the rest get to give viewer counts for Nathan's later premiere. Support in that way.
That's what I wanted
Can
to
you
talk
restate-
about coming on. Let's talk about admin.
What happened?
He was being sarcastic.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Well, it's something that I get approached with a lot, so that's why I'm bringing it up again.
You get approached with what? Sorry, I've completely lost track of what you.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll restate it. So you
No,
have an
please
audience that's
don't.
growing and growing. I'm sorry. Am I stepping on somebody?
No, go ahead.
Okay, you have an audience that's growing and growing, and they are hooked on the show. They want to listen to it every day. They want to be up to date with the live debate. Even the Globers. There's multiple Globers that have talked to me about this, and they just really want access to that pre-show and after-show when they're occurring. So there was a listen. There was
They
a
want
listen in.
they want to experience the live show when it's not live. This is obviously we're talking right now, so therefore this is live or as close as it'll ever be because it's not going out live. So therefore they want to sit in the Discord server because they get to hear effectively it live.
That is correct. Same with the pre-show.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think effectively what he's saying is like more people, because sometimes the Discord gets filled up with people who just want to listen. That's why it's quiet. But then more people want to join, right? But the people that want to listen, they could just listen in if there's that function, I guess. If you could just listen in without having to be in the Discord. I think that's what you mean, Travis, right?
Yeah, like a separate room. I guess that Bible literalist, or I'm sorry, not Bible literalist. Betty, I guess Betty tried to get it working right. Just said for the ball busters, there was a ball busters listen in tab in the Discord server, and I don't know what became of it, but Righteous said that she couldn't get it to work or something. So that's why I was needed.
Oh my God, Arwen, what do you think? What do you think he's trying to say? We'll just go right down the list, see if everyone understands it.
It was only because I was out. Okay, I'll be honest, right? I'll level with you. I was out making coffee when he said it the first time around. That's really what's happening here.
And I was clearing it up for Nathan.
Thanks for that chocolate. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Anytime, brother.
Hey Nathan, is there going to be a second show, by the way, or
no?
Oh, okay.
Here's a good after show content. How about we debunk Walter Mislin's simulator?
It's Bislin, and he's already been debunked about 2 years ago.
Okay, well, I mean, they've been, all the ballers have been pushing me back to this thing. Well, I've got it kind of set up here. I don't know if you can see down here. It says observer height. I got it at 1.59 meters, which is roughly, what is it? I did 5 feet off the ground, which is our black swan. Well, on a flat Earth, you could see all the way to the bottom of whatever's out there. Look what happens as soon as you put, now this is, I got it set up for standard refraction. See it right here? Standard refraction. As soon as I put the globe in, watch what happens to the horizon. Boom. It sinks below it. Get it? And this is using their own standard refraction. So you shouldn't be able to see the oil rigs with standard refraction under the globe model.
You shouldn't be able to see the horizon isn't refracted.
I know. But I'm saying you shouldn't even be able to see the oil rigs. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the horizon is well before that. Yeah, I know. Just bear in mind what we talked about yesterday about the tail wagging the dog and countermeasures. When you get morons dragging you to explain something to them, and you go explain it and you go track it down, you got to ask yourself this question. Who's the moron?
Oh, I know. Well, I like at least having an answer for myself to kind of, in the back of my mind. I know the geometric is the linchpin of this, but I'm just trying to at least having all angles covered as best I can. That's all. That's all. I was going to show you that. That's it.
That's cool, Paul.
So that brings me back. Sorry if I interrupted. You got my goat already. So I got in the hangout yesterday in the after show. After the show was over, And all I see is Rumpus with his frigging sugar water fishbowl showing a laser going through it, and about 45 flat earthers in there just entertaining this shit. Right? I lost my damn mind. That's what
I
this
was
brings up.
Kiwi. I was trying to call it out, saying, you know, we don't live in a fish tank full of sugar water, but it got lost in the noise.
Yeah, it came through.
What's
well,
your
the point
thoughts
is
on
not
that?
saying that we live in a sugar bowl. That's not the point.
Yeah, it's not analogous.
Point on. Well, it's to show how light works, behaves in different densities, right?
Right.
That's amazing. What does that have to do with anything? Let's put gummy bears in the fishbowl. Let's try that.
Sure.
But we'll use
Why gummy
different
bears?
colors. We'll get the orange ones first, right? Then we'll fill it all up. We should write a paper on it. Then we'll put all
And what
different
would be the
colors of
point
gummy
of
bears
putting
in
gummy
there.
balls?
Gummy
What would be the point of
bears.
putting gummy bears?
Different medium. Going through like going through different mediums. There you go.
Right.
Can I?
Then we'll put mayonnaise in there. Right? Then we can all sit around and talk about how the light friggin' refracts through mayonnaise through the fishbowl. We'll just keep on building on it.
Well, that's not the point.
Let's put diamonds as a high refractor.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like bouncing everywhere.
Somebody give this guy some breakfast. Stat.
I think the mayonnaise.
There's straw man in you.
The mayonnaise will spread out the light better, I think.
That's weak.
No? I thought it was pretty crafty.
No, that's good. You were waiting
Saying
for
that
that.
week is not an argument.
He sets people up, man. I'm telling you. I bet you got a pen and a piece of paper by him, right?
Nope,
And
just my-
as soon as the
just my
words come
noggin.
out, and he writes down the word associations and just waits for it.
You're going
Do it in my mind.
You're going to go to hell, man.
Hell man. I did have a boat and I was a hell man. Yes.
Hell man. Yeah.
No, it's no paper, no pen, just in my mind. I'm crazy.
What's new on the horizon?
Love that.
They no longer have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon.
Which horizon?
We only have one.
Yeah. Oh, Nathan, before I forget, 14 minutes and 7 seconds for today.
Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. 14, not an hour and 14, just 14.
Just 14. I got some small ones.
What was today's show past tense?
Who the heck is it? I think it's Planar Walk.
Planar Walk.
Yeah, ahoy hoy.
Oh yes, ahoy hoy. Ugh.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
I think he did.
No, the reason I said it that way is because as soon as I realised who you were talking about, he's another one that's shooting himself in the face, saying the horizon is not geometric. It can be loomed. You're like, okay. There's a load of them. Some Wally guy as well is doing the same thing. I mentioned him yesterday in regards to A Fresh Look at Truth, or Fresh Look at Truth, the channel's called. Harry, in Sydney. He's looking at it going, he's describing, he's actually got Anthony saying words to the effect of, you can't loom the horizon above the horizon, without appreciating that contextually the horizon being loomed above the geometric horizon is a contextual impossibility and a contradiction in terms. If it's geometric, it's not capable of being loomed, because as soon as it is, it's not geometric anymore. So it is a contradiction in terms, but they say his response to that was to say, well, I think it can, in his Aussie accent. It's like, way to demonstrate unequivocally that you do not understand this argument. What
You
Aussie,
clever
Wally,
guy.
whatever your name is. Go on, sorry.
I said, you clever guy. You.
Yeah, well done. Have a biscuit. You've loomed the horizon. Oh, it needs to be geometric. Your models is geometric. What's that you say? We've got two. No. No.
Here comes the Aussie underdog to save the day. It can. I say it can loom. Put another ship on the bobby. Clowns.
Yeah, they are. They're clowns. But I still think you're right. I think it's 6 months to 12 months before they start realising how screwed they are.
You're lowballing it, man.
I kind of want that to be a longer period anyway, because the longer they start saying it's looming, it's looming, it's looming, it can be refracted, it can be... You're like, that's a deeper hole to climb back out of, isn't it?
I don't know. It's bad for them, man. Really bad. I'm embarrassed for them a little bit, I have to say. I mean,
am as well.
It's up there with planes flying backwards. I don't know what's worse. Air is not the atmosphere. Second law doesn't apply to the earth.
The horizon is
Closed
looming.
thermos. Closed thermos is an open system. Shoe. What's your observed phenomena? Shoe. What's the hypothesis? It's a shoe. Where are we at?
Brenda
Space-time.
stepped into that one.
Space-time is a donut.
Right. Yeah, but the
It's
donut
going to
thing.
take a while for her to realize the other shoe is dropped.
Whoa. I love it. That's why she gets booted all the time.
Weird, man.
You know, they're so dead in this Black Swan Modus Tollens. They're like actual zombies now. They're living dead. They can't think. They just eat.
The greatest part is the understanding of it that people that a lot of people have. Like I read one of the comments on the Mark Sargent version of the new Black Swan where he's talking about it, and the comment was simply a guy saying, like, finally there's an argument, like I can tell my wife and she understands the argument, you know. Finally there's something I can tell her and show her that you can't argue with. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's the awesomeness of this argument.
That's very interesting. I took the exact same attitude the day I heard the argument. So literally the day I had it explained to me, and I made sure Quantum Eraser realised how important it was, because obviously, having formulated the argument himself, there's no way he'd understand how important this argument was. He needed telling by me. So I told him. And then I told my wife. Anyway, the way I explained to my wife, so we sat in the kitchen and we're on the first floor, so it's overlooking, you can see a fair distance. And I explained to her that in the example I'm giving her, imagine that the window ledge edge is it's going to be analogous to the geometric horizon. So I get her to sort of raise and lower a position. I'm like, right, so it's something physically obscuring the stuff that we can see through the window. She's like, yeah, I get that. And I go, okay, now I explained a bit about what refraction is and what it does. And I said, now, can you imagine a scenario where there's some like transmitter towers in the distance, about a quarter of a mile away, maybe half a mile away, something like that. Anyway, I said, can you imagine a circumstance where the window ledge is loomed to be behind the telephone tower? And she looks at me with a funny look, and she's like, well, that's just stupid. I'm like, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. So, in other words, this window ledge that's in front of you, obscuring the telephone tower when you lower down, there's no way that the light could bend in such a way that you then see the telephone tower, but also the window ledge behind it. She's like, well, no, that can't possibly happen. I'm like, yeah, it's a physical impossibility to place this obstruction in the foreground in the background. That's a geometric impossibility. A physical, you can't do it physically. It's impossible. And as soon as I explained it to her, I'm like, yeah, because exactly like your man chocolate, I thought, no, this is something, I'm not trying to demean my wife, but I'm like, this is something that I can explain to her. And at the end, I know she's not going to go, no, the light could bend. Because you can't make the physical obstruction move. It's a physical obstruction. The very physical obstruction that is, in the modus tollens argument, the basis of their religion. They're trying to change and physically move and loom and refract the physical basis of their religion. It's like you don't realise by doing that it crumbles your entire religion. Then, that's how well brainwashed you are. But it will come eventually. It's a ticking time bomb in the brain of all these people who are kind of in denial of it, or deliberately not interpreting it, or haven't understood the significance yet. Whatever their reason or justification is, it's coming. It's a time bomb. We're just counting down for when.
Well, here's another one. Sorry,
Yeah,
I know this.
can I?
Give me. You can shoot me later, but I did looming. I did looming in their own simulator with standard refraction on the left, and the horizon doesn't loom above the objects that go back off it. They just kind of think off into the distance. So, yeah, that's all. This is their own simulator, so I'm debunking their own simulator.
Comment, guys? Can I make a comment?
Go ahead. Is it Pool Dog? Pool Dog Bear?
Pool Dog, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, they are relinquishing their R value, and I just wanted to read a comment by Sean Hawkins here on one of your shows, 116. It says, at best, the Black Swan doesn't prove flat Earth. At best, it shows the Earth is a bigger sphere.
If you
I
presuppose
like
it's
the
a sphere.
phraseology all of a
Giving
sudden with at best. Oh, at best,
best.
you've just disproven
Like
the
that's
R value.
like that's nothing or something. So I just wanted to read that to you guys because I found it amazing.
Sure.
At best, yeah. At
Albert,
best,
before
every
we all...
NASA measurement is wrong.
Yeah, right on. But before we all sort of paraphrase it and laugh at it, for those in the audience that might not appreciate the significance. So the R value, Earth radius, is giving you the nature of the physicality of the claim that we're on a sphere in the first instance. So the R value gives you the outside edge of that sphere, and that is the basis of the physicality. So to assert, as Sean Hawkins does, bearing in mind this is someone at the dawn levels of comprehension, that, well, at best you've made the sphere size twice as big. Well, no, it's supposed to be a rock. Rocks don't suddenly double their size for no apparent reason. That's preposterous. And by saying that it's a double the size rock, it's not the rock that you need it to be, and that's set in literal stone in your mind. It's supposed to be a stone in the sky flying through a vacuum at a physical size with physical dimensions and physical limitations being pointed out in the modus tollens. So it can't just grow. The very same argument is used against them by Taboo Conspiracy. So when he was exposing this exact argument, he explained that by nature of the position of the horizon, when reified into physicality, it would make the Earth that we're standing on, if presumed to be spherical and violating the law of physicality in terms of it growing, a rock that's being pumped up apparently, then it would be massively bigger than the one they claim. Now, when Quantum Array says there's no takebacks, what it means is we're describing a sphere-shaped rock. It doesn't change size tomorrow, it's preposterous. And when you're dealing with a physical sphere-shaped rock, the way they measure that rock and quantify that rock is with its geometry. As soon as you're not talking about geometry, you've got bent donkey dick for a tangent line, then you're not talking about geometry anymore. You know, their bastardization of what was their geometry is just laughable now, because it's not geometry anymore. Well, they're asserting, as their belief, as their fundamental basis of their sphere religion, that we've got geometry. They can't abandon it, like it doesn't matter. Abandoning an R-based value that gives you a horizon is the premise of their religion. So, like I say, the ones that are just shooting themselves in the face going, we can illume the horizon. Right, so, not an R-based rock that we're standing on giving us physicality that you can tell us about anymore then. It can loom, can it? Welcome to Flat Earth, moron.
This is the second one that's used that same phrase, at best, what you've done here. And I'm going to paraphrase, like, at best, what you've done here is prove us wrong? What?
Yeah, exactly, Chocolate.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah, but they're okay with that. No, but they are okay with that because according to them, science only disproves things, so it's all right.
Hold on, can you just for the sake of clarity, just because I love it. The succinct nature of what you've just said has literally brought a tear to my eyes, Chocolate. Can you just say it once more?
I mean, this is the second time we've heard this phrase of "at best." What you've done here is, Sean Hawkins says, "At best, you've proven that it's bigger ball," and then the other guy who is sensible says, "At best, what you've done here is disprove the radius." I mean, you say at best you've proven us wrong. Yeah, that's the point. What?
Right.
At best, you've demolished my argument. At best.
Yep. But also, that's like a hidden warning. You can never win because to them, science only
Because that's the best you could do. The
Doesn't
best
have
you could do
anything
is
to do with
lose.
science, Arwen.
Argument science.
Don't jump on his. Don't jump on Arwen's back. When Arwen's used that word, he means their pseudoscience is assumed to prove nothing by their own admission at the moment. So when he's saying science, he means their pseudoscience. He's just not paraphrasing it into his explanation, right, Arwen?
Exactly. So in their mind, they're still thinking, wait, we're on the side of science, their version of science, and science doesn't prove anything. So if the other party wins, that's okay, because science doesn't prove anything anyway. We're just back at the square one, and that doesn't mean we lost.
No, that doesn't take him to square. Oh, I've got to stop him. That doesn't take you to square one. That takes you to brain in a jar.
Yeah, square one to them, conceptually square one. It's okay to them because they had this background feeling that, hey, if you're disproven, that's okay because science doesn't prove anything.
Well, this isn't science
It's
to
a
begin
little
with.
mind trick. I know it isn't science. It's a little mind trick.
No, it's not science to begin with. It's not even pseudoscience. It's not science at all. That's
Well,
where
they
you're.
think
That's
it
where
is.
you're off the rail a little bit.
What?
They think it
let
is.
me try again for Arwen's behalf. So he's saying if we were ballers and we were utilising this logical consistency, even though it's perfectly sound, it would be labelled science. So therefore, that's what Arwen's saying. He's saying, look, if this was the other way around and it was their example, no matter what it would be dubbed science. Astronomy and all the other pseudosciences are using this word science all the time. So in Arwen's mind, he's saying, well, if we end up with something that disproves our position, well, science didn't prove anything anyway, because what they actually have is pseudoscience all along. So it doesn't matter what's proven or disproven by anything at any stage, because it never proved anything to begin with. But that whole philosophy leads you, I said it already, to brain in a jar.
Yep.
Well, they have even bigger problems because at 10 miles, the radius would have to be 240,230 miles instead of 3,959. So as I said earlier, if the Earth's radius just doubled from 3959, just double that, forget the 230,000, which is the 10-mile sighting, every flying machine or creature would crash immediately and probably fatally. Anyone with a weak heart, bones, or who is overweight would die fairly rapidly. All structures, such as bridges, large buildings, would become potentially unsafe depending on the safety margin with which they were constructed. Houses would probably stand but may need reinforcing. Larger structures are at higher risk. Do we see that happening?
Wait, what? Where?
Talking about if you assume we didn't have harp music, Arwen, that's all that's happened. We forgot the harp music. Right. Can everyone think of gravity as a force for a moment? You may continue, 10th man.
Yes. Double the Earth's radius, the mass by adding it, keeping the density constant. It will have 8 times the volume and thus 8 times the mass. Oh my gosh, if you weigh 200 pounds now, you'd be weighing 400.
But does
Tony,
that,
you got some big problems.
really hold up in the Einsteinian version?
Didn't you hear the harp music? Hello? You can think of it as a force, Arwin. Didn't you hear me?
I know, but that still
Think
does
of it
not
as a
state that it is a force. It's still the bending of space-time, and the bending of space-time is what basically causes these gathering points
But
for
their
matter
gravity
to fall toward.
is
Does that automatically mean that if there is more mass, that the weight is also equally enlarged? Because I think that's kind of left out because of the bending of space-time.
That's
And
correct.
what-
Yeah, absolutely correct.
9.8.
That's correct, Arwin. But you can think of it as a force.
That's very Cavendish of you.
You can.
Okay, I get it, but I'm just going by the supposed model, and it leaves it open. So even within that,
Yeah, but the
model,
people
you can say,
were-
yeah, you can think of it as a force, but technically, it's more an effect as official.
Yeah, but they got it at 9.8 meters per second or squared, right? And so that would change. Everything changes if
You-
they change the radius.
Tenth, are you reading that from an article or
I mean,
something?
it would be half
Yeah,
the size of the
it
sun.
was a question.
So wouldn't the
posed
sun
as-
and it wouldn't it be half the size of the sun? So the sun and the earth would be practically inching.
Would be practically what?
Inching towards each other.
Well, that would presume that gravity
Mass
is a
attracting
force.
mass. So
Well, it's falling around. That's orbits. You're describing orbital mass. It's in perpetual. It's perpetually falling. I don't
right,
want
but
don't make me
that's
detail,
at what 3,000 of radius, but with 264,000 radius and the sun being 464,000, around there 460 something thousand radius. Wouldn't that make it attract each other?
Yeah, well, they're saying that you've got a whole load of conceptual bending going on between the two objects, like they show in their depiction with it, like literally bending a mesh fabric, or the high school example with it on a trampoline. But it's perpetually falling around the other body, according to their presupposition of orbital mechanics.
So, yeah, the people that that article that 10th man is reading, the people that article is aimed at, they're not given a choice as to whether they can think of gravity as a force or not. They just are made to believe that gravity is a force.
But
And
still,
that's it.
if I may for a second defend the baller concept, mass attracting mass really is not a thing. It's
No
still
shit.
in there through Cavendish nonsense and folklore, but officially it is not there. The bending of space-time is not expressed in mass being attracted by mass. It is rather the pulling of a specific point in space where matter will gather. It is not one piece of matter attracting another or anything even that. It's all secondary. The mass and all of it is secondary. That's why it's an effect, that gravity. So,
Yeah, that's right. The uneven distribution of mass causing the bending of space-time.
no, the other way around.
No, that's the right way around.
The bending of space-time
is the
first
effect.
and displacement.
According to their rhetoric, Einsteinian rhetoric, the bending space-time bit is an effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cause is the uneven distribution of mass, according to this mathematical construct that's completely conceptual.
Right,
Yeah.
but it doesn't prove it, though. So it's
I just said
an
that. It's
idea.
conceptual.
No
It's
shit.
completely conceptual. It's a bit...
No, but even within the model, it doesn't prove it. It's just something it says. It does not even claim that that is real in the model. It's just an option.
Didn't we cover this earlier? You can think of it as a force. You can.
Right. But it doesn't claim that it is. It's just
No,
a way
exactly.
to
Oh,
be
you're
there.
brilliant, Arwin. Your double speak is mwah, perfect.
Thank you.
We were
think.
talking
It
about
doesn't
this.
even matter if you think of it as a force or not. As long as you're not working at the really is level, it all doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
True.
What you
I
gotta-
just want to get
Yeah,
the
we
technical
were talking about this
misunderstandings
the
out
other
of the
day,
way.
guys.
That was almost more a devastating point than you can think
Go on, Ewok. You said you were talking about it the other day.
I know that was me, Bulldog.
much more of a blow to everything because of that.
Your robot.
Great. Broken up.
I'm driving.
We were talking about this the other day, and I was telling you that my little girl is being taught this right now, that mass attracts mass, and Newton's theory of gravity. And somebody asked, who's in charge of the curriculum for the schools, and as far as I know, it's UNESCO, backed by the Rothschilds, apparently.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that.
I mean, if you've listened to previous shows, Adam's on the panel at the moment, but he's told us just so it's on a tangent with things we've talked about recently, which is Cavendish. So A level, they're telling you about Cavendish. They're even, in some instances, putting together some really elaborate versions of the quasi-test. But then you go above that, and they'll tell you it's complete bullshit at a higher level of education. Well, in order to teach Cavendish, you've got to be at that high level of education, so you ultimately know it's bullshit when you're teaching it. But in the same way, the whole mass attracting mass and, dare I say it, Newtonian ideas of what gravity are still taught to us at a high school level, just to be told that it's bullshit at the Einsteinian level higher up the ranks. So you're constantly kind of poisoned with different rhetorics, depending on what level of comprehension they deem you to need to be at. And so long as you've got them all swirling around in your brain, you can pick them out at a pinch whenever it comes to a discussion like the ones we have. And whichever fits the bill best, and presumably somebody's worked out which is the most appropriate order to put those kind of nonsense ideas into your brain. Starting with the Newtonian, working your way up to the Einsteinian, going back to qualifying the Newtonian in claimed to be experimental form, only to be told later that it's complete bullshit. You think, well, they must know in the education structure that some of the things that you're being told are completely out of date and nonsensical. Why would you still need to be taught them? Well, because they're still useful tools in the bullshit that is heliocentric rhetoric. So you can't get rid of them. They're very useful, shiny tools. We still use those. So they don't. They keep them around for when they're needed, when they're useful. Doesn't matter that it doesn't work in conjunction with the new shiny electric tools that they're actually using in the form of Einsteinian bullshit. Who cares? The archaic old tools still do the job when you've got an argument that involves those old archaic tools, so you don't throw them out, quite the contrary. You indoctrinate your children with them.
Right, it's like kids' toys.
Yeah.
And is used as part of the 4 fundamental forces.
Well, that
Gravity
concept
is
is
one of
still
them.
disputed among the officials. So there's proponents to say, no, gravity, no, that's ridiculous. It's not proven even in... And others really want it in there. So even that among the preponderance out there is still in dispute, has been for a long time.
Who posted? What did you post in Ballbuster's tent?
Just,
I got you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, there's the citations or the references from the internet on if the radius of the Earth doubled, what other things would happen. So
So if you took a look, yeah, I understand. I think I ran across that at some point a couple years ago. I thought it was pretty funny. But if you really, I'm telling you, that horizon, it's just between us, right? We don't have a precise measurement. Taking the first photo and then BMLSB's second photo, I'll tell you what, man, that horizon's looking like it's about 20 miles away.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
On the second one?
Yeah.
It's looking that way.
Yeah, I instantly recognised that was a considerably superior capture.
Superior? How you figure?
Okay. Arguably, in your presentation, you've got one of those images that you say, this could be a black swan. You know the one I'm talking about?
No.
It's got a... You started off with the presentation saying, here's an example of a white swan, horizon in front of the oil rigs. Then later you went back to it and went, actually, looking at this horizon, touch and go, but I think this could actually be a black swan. Yeah?
Yes, the second one. It's a black
Right.
swan. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a black swan. So, but by those standards, you then take the one that has become the poster child, and it always will be, original and best, whatever you want to call it, the one that you and Taboo Conspiracy first utilised. That's always going to be dubbed the poster child, no matter what way. It's just the way it is now, right? However, the latest one, the horizon seems to be further away. It's higher up, therefore further away in the image. And everything's clearer. It's more pretty. The lighting's... Everything about it's better. So, from an argument point of view, you could use the one that you said, oh, well, this is actually a black swan. Just as much. It works perfectly in the argument. It doesn't make the argument any more or less strong, and you only need one. Right. So I see I understand your point that you're making, and your objection or your tone or whatever it was that's made me on this babbly nonsense of explaining that I understand that you only need one. It doesn't have to be of any particular quality. But from an artistic point of view, and even if you like from a geometric point of view, if you want to reify that horizon into a physical edge and then qualify where it would be on a bigger ball, it would be worse mathematically. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make it better. But it does.
Yeah. I'm just saying. And when I evaluated the first photo, because I was really intent on it, I was looking at, because I was trying to find where the horizon was in comparison to the islands behind it, because then I had a distance measurement, right? And even in the first black swan, it seemed to be really, really close to Santa Cruz. That is 27 miles away. So I can't be precise. I can't be accurate. I'm just speculating, an educated speculation from an observation. But if you understand the gravity, pardon the pun. If it's 15 miles away in that photo, the first one, then the radius is 594,000 miles. If it's just 15, is this sinking in?
Yeah.
It's just standard refraction, John.
But to parrot your sentiments, it only has to be a foot beyond what it should be geometrically, demonstrating a geometric impossibility, and it's game over geometric globe Earth assertions. And over...
I'm well past. Yeah. I'm not worried. Yeah, they're dead. They're walking zombies. What I'm saying is just for us. If it's 15, it's 594,000, and it's well past that. So I'm just saying. At the really, we work at the really is level. I'm getting really is on you.
Yeah, I would say that horizon's definitely like at least 20 miles from the way it looks.
Yeah, I was thinking so. But
what
would the size be if it was 27?
I haven't figured it out. It's, oh my goodness, man. It's beyond 1 million. I know that. If it's 27 miles, somebody figure it out.
That might explain why the North America grows on those NASA pictures.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, there'll definitely be more land, I think.
What makes you say that?
Just like by just percentage wise, just if it's 1 million miles, the likelihood is there's more land. But, it's all speculation, I think.
Well, they're saying now on their model 70+% is ocean water. So if you just take that out, it'll be more water and more land in direct proportions to how you take it out. But again, it's dead because they do not have an actual geometric horizon, which they must have if you're on a sphere. And they have admitted it. It's over. Checkmate.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making this after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream audience for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!